That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone. Goglings, Gogorifics, Gog peoples of the world unite. Welcome, everybody, to episode 289 of Pen and Pixels. And welcome to our sponsored campaign by Pegasus Spiele of Talisman Adventures. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that focuses on story and narrative in games that we do here every Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And I am joined, as always, today by the amazing GOG crew, which I will introduce to all of you in just a moment. Before I do that, though, just a couple of quick reminders about ways to support us here on GOG.com. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to follow the channel. That is always the best thing that you can do. If you haven't already done so, please consider doing just that. Thank you, Wolf Soul, for the tremendous timing. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel like Wolf Soul 87 just did, so that you too can get those custom sub badges and emotes, DRM-free stuff to be able to support us, and to be able to get more information and be a part of our community that supports the streamers here. So thank you, Wolf Soul, and everybody who jumps on board to subscribe. And if you haven't already done so, please consider clicking through to our individual channels, because we have all of our own, individual subsystems and, Patreons and all that kind of good stuff as well. And with that said, oh yeah, Effect Life. I love that video. Again, that's Peripheral Mike who did that video with music from Greenforge Studio, and it just came out beautifully. I feel the same. That moment with Chai is great. Anyway, but I'm glad that everyone is here. I hope you folks are here and are excited and ready for the amazing adventure of Talisman Adventures. I apologize for interrupting whoever I may have interrupted just now, because of course I can't hear them until now, when I am able to bring up the screen that reveals to all of you the power of Talisman Adventures. The power of Talisman Adventures unites. And actually, it just struck me that we have a cams only. I believe we have a cams only. Somebody was like, only cam. I'm like, yeah, hardy har har. But I believe we have a Saltmarsh cams only now, which may or may not be getting rolled out in very short order, thanks to one extraordinary GOG team leader. But I also wanted to mention that, if we are ever able to do a cams only for Talisman Adventures, that would also be cool. But I know that the person I need to speak to about that is on vacation, so I can't really speak to that person right now. But whenever that person arrives again, I will bring that up to them. But it is lovely to have the amazing crew below us, below the column, as you see, but not below us in our hearts. And that, of course, is the amazing GOG stream crew. And I will begin with someone who is not currently existing, who is currently not here. Is not here. So you're just seeing an avatar. Actually, Pyron is so dedicated that she sent an avatar from her undisclosed location to play Talisman with us. So, Pyron, it is great to see your avatar here. How are you doing? And who are you playing in Talisman Adventures today?
Hi, I'm Pyron's avatar because Pyron is still on vacation, and 8-Bit would kick her if she would be on stream or something like that while being on vacation. We can't have that. I also always wanted to be an avatar since playing Ultima Underworld, which is currently free on GOG. So this is everything's coming together. Also, as you can see, I'm a different place, so meet Dor. And I'm playing Regina Augusta III tonight, who is the conductor of a crazy minecart, if I remember correctly. That is barreling down into a dark mine that is completely normal mine, and will not find any scary stuff in there. And that's what we're doing. So I'm playing a warrior, but I'm also a sprite, like Tinkerbell.
Yes,
Sprite.
But yeah, exactly. I was going to say hardcore Tinkerbell, like Tinkerbell, that type of thing. So I am excited to have Pyron with us. And yeah, hi, I'm Pyron's avatar. Your call's important to me. I'll get back to it as soon as I can. That's funny, Mike. Yes, exactly. But Pyron still is, and her avatar is with us. Always a pleasure, Pyron. And it's also a pleasure, as always, to have Darksaber 2K with us. Darksaber is not, I think, on vacation. Maybe more is the pity, if only. But Darksaber is with us again. Thank you, as always, Saber, for doing all the stuff with MoveButton Dashboard on these sessions. It really does help. And it's good to see you. How is life in the universe and everything with you? And who are you playing in today's session?
Well, technically, I am on vacation.
Oh, you are?
It's the last day of it today. No, I go back tomorrow. Well, work from home tomorrow because
so you were like, too soon,
Arv.
Too soon. Like, thanks for the reminder.
But yeah, I've been to a thing that people may have heard me mention in passing once or twice. I've been to Bloodstock again, the music festival in the UK that I go to every year, except for last year. And
how was it?
Got a new T-shirt.
I don't think you've told us about this before. Maybe you should talk more about this.
Yeah, tell us more about Bloodstock.
Well, yeah, we've seen. I saw elephants dancing on stage, a gorilla playing bass guitar. We got to be a band, but for good reasons rather than like you suck. Because that was Glory Hammer, and you got to boo the evil wizard when he comes out.
Right, sure.
That's why I love them. We had thrash metal confetti cannons.
Thrash, okay.
Yeah,
but it's not confetti. It like literally sends out jagged pieces of metal, right? Like that's the thing.
That's what you'd expect, but no, literally confetti.
More dangerous.
Literally confetti. Okay. Right.
Yeah, things like punk rock covers of Saturday morning cartoon shows.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, it's been an outstanding weekend, and everybody, like the staff who put it all together, did a fantastic job. Every band played their hearts out because it was their first live performances in 18 months to 2 years at this point. So it was very, very special, and just happy to be there. And oh, am I sore? Blown out my legs, my back, and my hips.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah. Like literally like turtling, trying to get out of my tent, just like trying to rock myself onto my feet because it hurt so much. Just like, help me. And on the subject of help me, I will be playing Reginald Shun tonight, a ghoul druid who is literally being dragged along for the ride at the moment because he's currently clinging to a rope that's on the back of an out-of-control minecart.
Yeah, what Saber didn't tell you is that all the stuff that he did at Bloodstock was actually just method acting prep for like being Reginald behind this cart. Like, he needed to just be like, I feel like I've just gone through a death metal concert. Well, see, now you see what that's like with Reginald. So it is very appreciated that you have devoted yourself fully to investing yourself in the pain of Reginald. Always a pleasure, Saber. Thank you so much for being with us. As always also a pleasure to have Peripheral Mike with us, who is responsible for that amazing video that you just saw at the beginning, was responsible increasingly for a number of videos on my channel and or things that I run because Mike's really good at that. And so that has been awesome. And I am super excited. Those of you who missed it should check out on my channel at some point, should go check out the VOD. Don't do it now. After this one, you should go to the VOD and look at Mike's video that he did for Eberron. It is awesome sauce. You definitely want to see it. It is great. And and so Mike's a good dude. Also, Mike is a player in this campaign, so it is good to see you, Mike. How is life in the universe with you? And who are you playing in Talisman Adventures?
So it's going really, really well. I think at the moment I am getting a little bit of a reputation of being your video guy, which I'm kind of okay with, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm genuinely really excited because even though this has been a long-standing problem that I've chatted with on stream, with you guys on Twitter, our roof is finally getting fixed.
Yay.
We will no longer have a hole in our roof. We have finally got scaffolding up today. We would have fixed it ourselves, but it's 3 stories high, and I'm terrified of heights, and we don't have a ladder that big. So that's not... There's some stuff you just pay tradespeople for. I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yes.
When the risk of death increases, I'm happy to ask somebody else to do it. But game-wise, genuinely really excited. I'm playing Ashflower, the Laywalker Assassin. Bit of an exotic build, if I do say so myself, and a little bit out of my wheelhouse. But I'm interested to know how he's going to develop, and also how he's basically, this minecart is out of control, and he kind of stepped up to the plate and went, I got this, and realized he's spent his entire life in a forest and went, I don't got this. I don't know what I'm doing.
This is fine.
So yeah, I'm really...
This is fine.
Does anybody know what this is? I got this. What is it? But yeah, I'm really, really excited to play.
It's going to be great. Thank you, Mike. Always a great pleasure. And last but certainly not least, it is always a great pleasure to have. We only see her now once a month in terms of in Zoom calls and anything. But Tasty Chai is back with us. Chai, it is good to see you. It has been a little while since we've spoken. How is life in the universe working for you? How's the house working out and all that kind of good stuff? And who are you playing today?
We are in the home stretch.
The home stretch of the home? Okay.
Yes, we're finally, let's see, paint. Um, we're to that point now where we have 2 rooms left. I guess you could say 1.5 at this point of painting and doing floors and remodeling, which is a great thing to be doing when you're 8 months pregnant. Just throwing that out there. Definitely
God.
not exhausting at all.
That's true.
But we're doing it.
I should have. I mean, I just started with the house. I should have asked, "How are you? Is everything proceeding okay with the pregnancy?"
Oh yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Like last week he was upside down and everyone was like, "Oh no, he needs to be the other way." And this week he's the right way. So everything's fine. But yeah, everything is proceeding great. I'm just like completely worn out and tired, but that's kind of expected when you're remodeling your entire house. So everything's fine. Anyway, today I am playing Muriel, who is an elven prophet, and I believe the only one with night sight who can see what is coming up, which is a little bit less good than it could be. But hopefully it'll be fine, right? Like everything should be fine.
Hopefully,
Optimism.
Everything should be, I think. Okay.
I don't know. You're the prophet. You tell us.
Yeah, right. Is it okay? I don't know.
That's
Is
the
it-
concerning
is it gonna
thing
be
is that
alright?
the prophet doesn't know.
The prophet can just guess, right? Like, ultimately, no, but we'll, guess in a meaningful way. It's gonna be one of those horoscope deals where you're like, signs point to maybe, that type of thing.
I know. It's like just roll the 8 ball. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it works. It's always a pleasure to have Chai with us. Thank you, everybody, and let's fire up the music and talk a little bit about what happened in our last session. Give me that music. Let's go with. No, I don't actually want tavern music for this. Let's go with some forest music. And like that. All right. There we go. In our last session, the fine crew of Regina, Reginald, Ashflower, and Muriel have been sent on a bit of a quest. Specifically, they came to the small town of Dewberry, where they had been told that there were some issues relating to, and this actually originally came through a prophecy that was a vision that Muriel had, of something relating to toads. And sure enough, when they actually entered the village of Dewberry, what they discovered was that there were a couple of dozen villagers who were pointing at a large group of toads. And apparently these toads all were formerly human miners, people who literally mined. The village of Dewberry is known for being near this mine, and the miners had hopped out of the mine as toads, and the people are understandably perturbed about this. And Mayor Aldwin, the mayor of Dewberry, asked the party to be able to help in some way, to be able to search the mines to see if they can discover how the miners are transformed into toads and what the heck is going on over there. And so the party agreed to do this. They climbed the side of Moonbreak Tor, a path that kind of goes back and forth up to the entrance to the mine, then found this large platform, went into the mine, and went down this main shaft which sloped downward into the Tor, and eventually found a mine shaft, a mine cart, which they were able to ride down the tracks, or at least that was the theory. They started to do that. The problem was that so the brakes didn't quite work the way they thought they would, and it started going a little faster than they planned, and then there was a rope that didn't quite work, and so there were a lot of things going on. And at the moment, we have the party, which I think consists of Ashflower, Muriel, and Regina in the cart, with I think Regina trying to steer it, if I'm not mistaken, and Reginald bouncing around behind it, attached to the rope of the cart as it goes like down this mine shaft towards the center of the mine. And this is where we actually left things with the party. And it's actually not at all related. I love how this music is very calm and serene, and meanwhile it's like so. We'll see if it's going to remain serene in just a minute. So what I'm going to ask here is I want to have a couple of possible tests that are done here, because they are coming basically to a fork in the shaft, essentially, where they can go either left or right. Hey, 8-Bit, what's going on, everyone? Actually, seeing 8-Bit reminds me very quickly that the new D&D with GOG podcast for Storm King's Thunder, which is being done by Flaos, has just released its latest episode. I think it is episode 34 of our long-running Storm King's Thunder campaign, which wrapped up about 4 to 5 months ago, something like that. And so if you want to hear it, it is free to you, but you can check it out and you can spread the word and let people know. We would appreciate that. And then come back and join us for this game that we're playing here and for Ghosts of Saltmarsh, which we're going to be playing next week and the week after. So, but back into this. So we have a couple of tests here. So there is as I say, a fork in the road, basically, where you can go right or left. What I'm going to ask, first of all, is I'm going to ask for a test from Muriel, because I want to be able to see if there's some kind of way that she can predict which way would make the sensible way to go. And then I'm going to ask for a test from Regina to see if she can actually do that whenever Muriel's like, hey, go left or right. So let me see. I want to see I'm trying to think of a particular skill that would actually be appropriate for this, or a particular test. If I look at profit... Okay. No, because you have Shrouded Truths, right, Muriel?
Yes.
Not okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I think then what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to do a decipher, which is insight in this case, test that you roll. I'm going to ask you to make an insight, basically decipher insight test to see if you can decipher which way to go. And this is, I should say, as you're doing this, as you're setting up for this, Muriel, that this is partially coming again from, you didn't have a vision that showed you going down a mine shaft, but something about this entire mine has felt familiar to you in a strange way. So I did want to throw that out there.
I'm trying to find our lovely leader's spreadsheet, so
Ah,
that
yes,
way
the
I
spreadsheet.
can remember how to set this up.
if we go to the awesome spreadsheet,
I believe it's on a Trello, wasn't it? No.
The diagram of destiny.
Oh, I've got it. I have
Ah.
it saved. I have it saved.
I have it saved too. I just need to find where it is. We can go through it.
I second diagram of destiny.
Diagram
Okay.
of destiny.
I found it. Okay, so I need to roll the 3d6 plus
Skill
my
checks, there it is.
aspect plus 2 because yeah, I think that's it.
Yes, that's correct. 3d6 plus aspect plus 2. Wow. All right. So, and I forgot to mention that, remember, everybody has got, starts with a light fate. So you all have one light fate. These do not hold over. So even Regina, you had two, but we only start with one.
Didn't most of the others start with 2 light fate perk? The level up?
Oh, that's
I
true.
didn't,
That's
but-
true. Yeah, that's true. Actually, Regina, did you have the 2 light fate perk? Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe then that. Okay, so I'm sorry. So it is 2. So you have 2. Reginald, you had 2.
No,
You had
one.
just
I
the
took a
one.
different perk.
Ashflower though had 2. And
I only have 1.
And Muriel had 1. Okay. Good. And I've got 4 dark fate, just in case anyone's curious. Okay.
Not really.
So, all right. That means you've got that. You did not get the 6 on the Kismet die, but you did have actually a great success. So what this means is you were able to determine that to the left side of the path that you're going down, Muriel, the left is very, very rough and uncertain. It's conceivable that it might end up leading to the same place in the end, but it's going to be very dangerous. The right path, however, is much safer, although there is one particular area that's going to be a little bit difficult. But because you had a great success, you're going to be actually able to give Regina a little bit of a boost on her check. Once, assuming you make this, first she has to make the check to actually get you on the right path. But if you end up taking the right path, then you'll be able to help her on the other test she has to make when she's on it. So that's what you're able to know. So you know the right is safer than the left, and you know that as you're barreling down, all of you, towards this conclusion.
Can I yell to everybody, lean right, go right? And I just try to lean as much as I can.
All right, so Regina, what I'm going to ask for you, and yes, that's right. Congratulations, 8-Bit. I know Memories in 8-Bit game released today. Go check that out. It's available on GOG. Our very own Memories in 8-Bit. Everyone should buy that instantaneously, immediately. Yes. So, okay. So what I'm going to need from you, Regina, is I'm going to need you to make either a ride or a tinker, and this would be agility or brawn test. So I need you to make either a ride or, your choice, tinker, and that would be agility or brawn test.
Okay, then I'm gonna do ride and agility.
Okay. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. So, dice. No, not D20. We need 3. D6 plus agility. Whoa.
Okay. That first die was unfortunate, but the next two were good. All right. So that means you are successful. And, all right, very successful, actually. In fact, because we got doubles.
So I also lean right, and I scream while doing it. Right.
So this is a great success, which means you are able to not only direct it to the path. I mean, you barely, but you do manage to get onto the right path. But also, this means that the ride is safer than it would have been because you think you know how to control this, Regina. You've seen this kind of thing before. Your immense strength as a sprite, your enormous, brawn has really helped in this regard. So there is one section where the track kind of bends in, basically narrows a little bit. And normally that would throw you off more than it does here. But because of Muriel's knowledge of this and because of the great success you just had, you're going to be able to get a benefit to this. So you're actually going to do another ride test, but you're going to be doing this with an additional +2. So ride, whatever the bonuses are, plus an additional +2 because of Muriel's knowledge and your success on the previous check. Okay, so we got 4 + 2, so you got 14 and then an additional 2, right? That we're looking at?
No, this is I did +6 instead of +4.
Oh, you did +6.
Because I do
okay.
actually have ride.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So you are successful. Great success, actually. So yes, you managed to basically get stuff under control, and you're able to control it enough that Reginald, you are finally able to kind of like pull yourself up onto the rope. Now, I am going to ask for one check from you, Reginald, because although the cart is going along, I do want to make sure that you are able to go right when everybody else does. So, what I'm going to ask for from this is, let's see, what do I want to make this check? What's this test? I would say let's make this an athletics check to see if you can avoid getting slammed by the cart.
So flat 3d6 coming up.
He just cries in ghoul.
Cries in ghoul. Well, can we throw in? Do you want to? Do we want to see what we can do with some light fate? Also, chat. Don't forget inspirations are a thing.
No. I'm going to save my light fate.
All right.
Actually, just whatever. Roll those dice.
12. So I'm going to say that this is a standard success, which means based on the DC. So you are able to stay on the same track with them, but there is a little bit of a cost, by which I mean you do bash around quite a bit. You're going to end up taking 4 points of life damage, Reginald, by the time the cart begins to come to the end, as it begins to level out, and we'll talk about that as we go through. So you're eventually able to pull yourself onto the cart, but not before you take, as I said, 4 points. So you're at 11 out of 16 life is what I have you at right now.
Yep.
But you do get there. You feel inspired to get hit by a cart in the face, Giblix? All right, well, listen. Okay. Now, the very bottom of, as you're going along this shaft, on this wagon, once you have it under control, it takes you about a half hour, maybe just underneath it, to go down there. That's on a cart. So if you were to imagine how long it would take you to walk this far, right? It's far, far below the earth. and the mineshaft passes through these open cavern areas. Reginald, you feel somewhat relieved when just after you pull yourself into the cart, the whole cart goes over this bridge, like basically where you're just sort of looking down at this chasm below you and all this stuff. And finally, the cart levels out even further and slows down, and the tracks end about 10 meters from an area where it looks like you can see some shovels and pickaxes nearby where miners were recently digging. And through a narrow opening, you can actually see something. And I have a picture for all of you. And the picture is... let's see. It will be showing up on Roll20 in just a second. I mean, on the stream in just a second. And the picture looks like desktop. Okay. Looks like this. Just past the cart, you can see you are now looking in at what must obviously be the legendary Cavern of Diamonds. The area below this shaft opens into a large cavern, and there's water dripping into a dark pool of water from an unseen source high above. So there are numerous columns that are scattered throughout the chamber. You can see some of those there. There are towering stalagmites rising from the floor, and equally massive stalactites hanging from the ceiling far above. And the room is actually dimly lit. It's illuminated by a phosphorescence that at first you're not sure what it's coming from, and then you can see that it's coming from this faintly glowing moss that covers many of the stone formations kind of around the room. And more perhaps surprisingly than any of that, throughout the chamber there are crystals, possibly diamonds, embedded in the walls throughout the chamber. If these really are diamonds, they are worth an emperor's ransom. Like, this is, if these are diamonds, this is more diamonds than you've ever seen in your lives in one place. Like, this is unbelievable stuff. And so here you are. The cart is stopped, and you can see the chamber in front of you.
Ow.
I'm going to help Reginald up.
Hey, Reginald, you okay, bro?
Banged up a bit. That wasn't ideal.
Hey, I tried my really best. This is not... I mean, it's... How do frogs do it?
How do frogs drive minecarts?
Yes, how do... They must have driven the minecart, right? The toads?
I think that's a safe assumption. I don't know.
We need to ask them.
And now Muriel's in a reverie trying to figure this out.
I don't think that's how frogs work. I don't believe that's how frogs work.
But
Have
they
you
are
ever
minor
asked a
frogs.
frog?
The hands are too small.
That's true.
Unless
Frogs aren't
do we see
prolific
any
miners.
frogs are prolific miners.
Aren't.
Aren't prolific. I thought they are prolific miners. We're just gonna go with that then. Yeah, they do like shiny gems.
Are these real gems? I fly up to one, and I, knock against it.
Okay. I'm just going to add in a little bit of a extra sound effect. Actually, the music now does seem to correspond, like this sort of wondrous, oh. But we also have, of course, some other sounds. Specifically, there we go. Some dripping water, perhaps a touch.
I can do a bing.
Okay. Say again, I'm sorry.
I knocked against it.
Someone is getting real used to the soundboard.
Best thing ever.
That's so cool. Yes. So you bang into it. What's up, Infinity? Hello, everybody. So I would like you to make an evaluate test for me. This is wits, actually.
Wonderful.
Gina.
Yes, please.
So it's an evaluate wits test as you're looking.
Okay. I don't have evaluate, so it's just 3d6, I guess.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
This is really valuable.
Yeah, you're like, super. Listen, I mean, these are definitely crystals and rocks, and they're rocks here, like crystals in the rocks for sure.
I heard they go bong, so they must be real.
Yeah, you have
doubt.
no idea whether they're diamonds or not. But there is one thing I can tell you, Regina, which is you notice that right around the crystals, the rocks appear chipped, as if people have been digging at them.
That makes sense, doesn't it? I think this is complete. This is a mine. There are valuable gem things, so they were digging them out. So apparently the mine is not empty. I mean, like, is this what is supposed to be in a mine? Like,
they had not found diamonds before, not from what you know. This was new.
Oh, so they hadn't found diamonds before, so this potentially isn't where the miners came from.
No. They're just that, like, only recently would they have discovered something like this, but no, the miners could very well have found this, but just like the mine was not producing diamonds before, so this may just be a new discovery.
Are there any
what was it producing
lying around?
There are tools. As far as what it was producing, so Dewberry before was producing. There was mostly like coal, and some other kind of like iron deposits, iron ore and stuff like that. So the town of Dewberry, I think I mentioned before, the village of Dewberry was pretty poor. Like the miners barely eked out a living, from doing this. So the diamonds is a massive step up in terms of profit potential, profitability. But the mine before was just basically iron ore, coal, things like that. And sorry, Ashflower, you asked me about the tools themselves?
Yeah, does it... So I'm trying to understand if this looks like this has been mined in the past and left alone, like there's a couple of tools lying around, or is it like something may have been disturbed here and suddenly everyone in the room like dropped their tools mysteriously?
I'm going to give you a chance to do either a notice test, which is wits, or an investigation test, which is wits. You can choose.
I'll do notice because I have the skill.
Okay.
So that is 3d6 plus wits, because I don't have a focus in that skill. I don't believe. No. So 3d6 plus wits. Dice. Advanced dice roller. It'd be a 14, and I don't think any of those dice are special, because I didn't get any pairs, and I didn't get any sixes or ones.
I think you were right. Okay, so what that information tells you is that the pickaxes and the mining equipment and all that kind of stuff that you see lying around looks as if it's been casually abandoned. Like they don't look as if they don't look as if they were sort of like carefully laid in place for the day, right? It looks like all of a sudden they just got dropped where they were.
So I'm going to kneel by one of the pickaxes, and I'm going to look up at the others and say, I think this, if those frogs are the previous miners of this place, this may be where they were moments before they turned into those toads. We should be mindful of what we touch in here.
Yeah. Reginald's examining the moss because it's the only plant life around.
Okay. Yeah, the moss looks to you to be some kind of an indeterminate. I'm trying to decide whether to have you do like a nature test. Yeah, let me have you make. No, I don't actually. No, I think you can determine this even without it. Yeah, this is a kind of. You have not seen this kind of moss before, Reginald, but it is. There are many sorts of like phosphorescent, mosses that oftentimes grow in places like this. It is obviously damp down here, and the dampness obviously is what the moss loves. It's also dark, and so that's also something which it loves. The phosphorescent quality of it, though, is interesting because it seems to... I mean, it doesn't react to your presence exactly, but it's pretty bright for phosphorescent moss. It's, almost glowing, not blindingly, but it's pretty strong light for what usually is just a faint type of glow.
Since Ashflower said not to touch anything, I just put my hands on my back because now I really, really want to touch more of the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fly over to Reginald, staring at the moss like, what is it? Reginald, what is it?
Glowing moss. Don't usually get this bright, though.
Is it alive?
It didn't say.
Okay, I'm gonna ask. I fly down to the moss, and remembering my experience with the tree, I whisper at it, hello, you little lovely glowing moss. Do you live down here? Are you okay?
Dead silence from the moss.
Hello.
Moss on the floor as well.
You do realize I do have speak with plants, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
the moss does not... Yes, but there may be limits to what moss will be able to communicate, or if it's willing to communicate. But
I'll put that in the quote bot.
there may be limits to what moss can communicate. There may be limits to what moss can communicate. But no, you think there basically is just it doesn't respond. It seems odd to you, Regina, this moss.
I look back to Reginald. I think it's dead. Or foreign.
Did you try talking to it in a different language?
Did you speak to it in moss?
I don't... No, I... Usually plants they just talk back and say mysterious things, and this one is not even responding.
Wait. Remember when I tried to talk to the frogs and frog, and
Yes.
they didn't talk back? What if the moss is people?
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
Better not tread on the moss then.
We will not
I
walk
don't-
on the moss.
I just don't walk.
That's good. You already
Yes.
have a leg up on all of us.
Yep, indeed.
Yes.
And
Okay.
So Reginald's looking at that. Regina's looking at that. Your Ashflower is looking down at the pickaxes and such. Muriel, what are you looking at while this is happening?
I am kind of just gazing around at all the different caverns, trying to figure out which one would have a colossus-sized toad in it. So, which direction we should try to go.
So as you look around like this, you suddenly hear from the darkness, and there's this long croak, and then, and all of a sudden, everywhere from the cavern, you just hear just echoing croaks coming, and suddenly you see from around you, emerging from the dim light at the edges of the cavern, these massive toads that all wriggle out from their hiding places and surround you. There are 30 of them probably at least, and they're all kind of circling around you. And finally, a massive, there's a loud splashing. And from the pool of water that is near the sort of center of this cavern, and then pulling himself out, you see something very odd. Specifically, what you see is coming up on OBS here in just a moment on the stream. You see this. A massive toad with what looks like an honest-to-God crown emerges and pulls himself up onto this sort of like island, I guess you might even say, within the water. And all of the toads sort of stop croaking and look at him. And then you hear the toad looks at you and then says, and it echoes through the chamber alarmingly. And he says, "Welcome to my realm." And he
Just look
blinks
over at
slowly.
Muriel. Giant toad.
I did mention that, yes.
This looks like the one that you saw, Muriel, indeed.
Hello, King Toad. My name is Muriel, and these are my compatriots. And I felt compelled to come give you a visit. How are you today?
You are welcome. Prophecy spoke of your arrival, and your arrival is the vanguard of our salvation. And all the toads.
Well, we are certainly happy to help whenever we can and in whatever capacity we can. What can we do for you?
As you're saying this, you suddenly notice, I would say Reginald and Ashflower and Muriel. Regina, you don't notice this because you're flying, but the other three notice you feel something around your feet, and as you look down, you can see there's also little toads. So there's like 30 giant toads at least. There's this massive Toad King thing, and then there are these regular-sized toads swimming about right near your feet. Hundreds of them probably, like all over the place. This whole cavern is just filled with them.
I do
And
not move my feet at all, just in case I'm going to squish one.
yeah, it's like they really. And the Toad King says, "Are you hungry?"
Nope. Nope.
We don't want to offend him. What if he's offering us food?
I mean, I could eat.
I think he is a fairy creature. You should never take food from a fairy creature.
Is that true?
I say it.
Do you say that out loud so he can hear it, Regina, or just?
Well, you know how good I'm at whispering, so...
So it just echoes like, maybe it's this. And so the Toad King says, "I am no fairy. You, on the other hand, have fey blood, I see. Fear not, you will not be transformed unless you are violent with my people."
Maybe just take my hand off of the handle of my sword.
And the Toad King then, looks around himself, and basically nods, very human-looking gesture, very non-toad-looking gesture, and kind of nods, and some of the toads splash underneath the water. And a moment later, you see emerging from the water what looks like, for all the world, at first it looks like a green plate, and then you see that it's really like a massive lily pad, and it is being borne on the back by many, many toads, maybe 15 of them, and they come out of the water, and on the lily pad are a bunch of what look like brown wriggling things. And he brings it up to you and says, or the toads bring it up to you, and he says, "This is a delicacy, a plant that is found at the bottom of the pool. You may consume this is food for your nourishment. And there's a, expectant pause, and the things are like slithering around.
There's no hesitation. I'm just like, oh, thank you.
Reginald takes one.
Okay.
Ghouls don't have the most refined taste bud.
That wriggling thing is a plant?
That's what he says. It's like brownish, slimy, and green. Like okra, but living,
Never had okra, but yeah.
It's disgusting. Sorry to those of you who like okra.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of eel and seeds. Anyway, so, okay, so yeah, exactly, Infinity. All the toads look at you with expectant and big puppy eyes. So, okay, Reginald took one, Ashflower took one. Regina and Muriel, are you taking one or no?
I am, but I'm trying to hide hesitation, like trying to look really like grateful for the hospitality, but you can tell that I'm not exactly thrilled about it.
Really slowly.
Yeah, exactly. And then like close eyes.
So looking at Reginald and looking at Ashflower, just like, you guys died? No. Oh, that means I have to eat it.
So he hospital the toad. Okay. So who is it that actually ate one so far?
8.
Okay, so only Regina hasn't. Regina, are you eating one or no?
No.
It's about half as big as you are, Regina. As you grab it, it's like.
I can just hit it against
your food.
I hit it against. No, I'm not touching it. But no.
What?
I'm not touching it. No.
So what do you? Okay, so you're just all right. So it's just you. So Reginald, Ashflower, and Muriel, you all eat it. So it's, it tastes a little bit like, I guess I would describe it as a mixture between broccoli and chicken. So, and it's exactly that weird. The thing is, though, as you eat it, it's fine, except even as you bite it, it's still like wriggling as you swallow it. And so, and you eat it. And I don't know if you've ever been like really thirsty and then you drank water and you could literally feel the water going down. It feels a little like that, like slither, 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 as it's going down. And so the Toad King watches impassively and then turns his great dark eyes to you, Regina, and says, "Are you going to consume this nourishment?"
I am currently not in need of nourishment.
Big echoing croak. A few of the other toads take on the croak. Couple of the toads like lean up, like look up at you. Like now you feel like it's basically like 100 pairs more than that of dark eyes staring right at you, Regina, as Ashflower continues to eat them.
These are all right. I'm not sure what makes them wriggle on the way down. They're a bit wriggly, but they're okay.
Things usually wriggle when they're alive. Just saying.
It won't be for long.
Well, I'm not hungry. At all.
The croaking increases
I'm
a notch.
really full.
You just hear the noises of what sounds like Ashflower just chewing on a cucumber.
And
I just go over to Regina and I'm like, you might not want to offend him.
Usually don't want to offend, but still. I mean, 3 out of 4 is good, right? So
I mean, it's really not that bad. It kind of tastes like bird.
Okay, won't forget used to it.
why do you all want me to eat this? This is scary.
yeah,
I mean, we're fine.
Triffid is mentioning, by the way, that about can you pretend to eat it and then just palm it. I could see you doing some kind of a sleight of hand, kind of.
With a thing that is half my size.
You notice it's half her size?
Yeah. It's not going to be an easy sleight of hand, but Yeah, so it's not palming it. Like palming it would literally be like
It's not palming it, it's yeeting it across the cavern. I call this eat and yeet. Ow.
Yeah, and then I hit a tiny toad and knock it out or something. Yeah, no.
Anyway.
Okay, I nervously stare at the king toad and like, is it okay if I don't eat it? They have eaten like a lot and they seem to like it.
So you sort of stare at him and he kind of looks at you and he says, "Is there something wrong with this food?"
I hope not. Is there something wrong with this food? No, not right. No, it's good food, right? It's you would not give my friends bad food.
Yes.
Yeah, then we have cleared this up.
I don't actually think I've ever seen you eaten before. Like, you've never eaten anything in front of us. I mean, I've seen you drink a lot of beer.
And there's a lot of booze, mostly.
Lots of booze.
Lots of booze.
Never food. Maybe
Beer
do you have any
is
booze,
bread.
Mr. Toad?
Beer is made from grain. It's like bread.
Liquid bread, yes.
Yes. So,
Okay.
it's
so,
even vegetarian.
So I'm going to give you an opportunity here, Regina. You have a few ways to address this issue. You can either make a... let me see, actually. Wait a minute. Before I do that. I was going to say sleight of hand, but then it's giving me this thing about... I wanted to see... Oh, yeah, you can't use that unless you know it, and I'm sure you don't know sleight of hand.
I don't know sleight of hand.
So what instead I would say is that you can use either deception, if you want to lie your way out of this, or you can persuade the Toad King to overlook your offensive behavior.
What is this? Okay, I pick up one of the long brown wriggling things.
Yeah.
And I ask it, "What are you?"
And so what you hear back is, "Oh," which you guess is the last thing that it said before it was harvested from the bottom of the pool.
And
right now,
that's why
vegetarians and vegans all across the world, by the way, are like, "Oh my God, this is terrible! Like, when I can't."
And that's why I eat beer.
I'm pretty sure
like-
beer screams too.
No, I asked it.
No, that's...
I
I'm just
asked it. Beer is silent.
That's
so
Regina has to
silent.
drink too much.
That's
So
because
silent.
the plants were drowned.
I
Yeah,
sure
they don't
hope
scream,
so.
they just go...
I hit
Toilet
the brown
breathes
thing.
me.
I
I'm
take
on
the
my
brown thing
fourth
as
plant right now. This is amazing.
I take the brown thing as if it was a fish and hit it against the rock several times.
Okay, so you do that and whap, and it's sort of like, and then it sort of dangles, and the Toad King says, "Interesting. So you kill your food before eating it."
If I have to, yes, I usually like other people doing it for me. And then I take a nibble out of the brown thing
Okay.
with like smiling.
So when you take a nibble out of the brown thing, you'll be happy to know that it doesn't wriggle anymore. Instead, it just kind of lies inert. But you think maybe just the faintest little bit of quivering from when it was moving remains. It tastes like broccoli chicken with some eggplant okra thrown in, maybe. Plus slime. And so the food, you eat it, and there's a moment, and then the Frog King nods as if satisfied, and says, "Since you have responded to my offerings politely," and he kind of pauses and he seems to spend an awful lot of time looking at you, Regina. You don't know why, but and then he goes on. I will give you the task for which you have been summoned. And there's a dramatic pause. You can, some of the croaking of the toad sort of dies down a little bit. And he says, "This cavern is my people's. All this wealth you see is mine. Those who try to steal these diamonds is cursed to become a toad and to gain respect that is my due. For centuries my people have laid claim to this cave. Several days ago, a group of humans broke through the walls and ran to the crystals. They too fell under this curse. I am responsible." And he falls silent. There's a few bit of gentle croaks from around.
Can you undo it if you're responsible?
And so he turns his fathomless, almost black eyes upon you. You get the impression, Ashflower, when you're looking at him, that the Toad King is, obviously he's never going to be rushed to speak faster than he wishes to, but you get the impression that also there's this constant thinking going on behind those eyes that he's always processing in some ways. And so he responds to you and he says, "I could be persuaded to reverse the curse if you will help me with a problem."
I look at the others.
Well, I'm the helpful kind, so yeah, I'd do that.
Well, apparently we said we'd help you in any capacity. I just look over at Muriel.
Yes, we did say that, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes,
Uh-huh.
we
We'll do that.
did.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Let's help the giant toad who cursed the village.
Regina just got bored at some time of the slow speak and has zoomed out and is just like hoovering there in her own thoughts.
Okay, so once you have answered, then assuming all of you have answered either in the positive or have not directly said no, then he nods slowly and then responds as follows. Give me just 1 second, I'll make sure I'm not missing something. Okay, good. And then he goes on as follows. He says, "Several weeks ago, small lizard-like things have started to tunnel into this chamber to steal my diamonds. But while your miners are not resistant to the curse, these creatures are. My guardians have been able to drive them off, but several were killed, and that is not acceptable. Every time the toads collapse one of their tunnels, these creatures dig another. If you are willing to eradicate these pests or drive them away forever, I will return all of the miners to their normal state."
Is there a longer pause? Because if yes, I will just like
Yeah, there's a pause.
snap awake and like. So what he say?
Kill the lizards, lift the curse.
Or
Which
drive
curse?
off the livers. Sorry. Or drive off the lizards.
Sorry. Go on, Sam.
Sorry, frog in my throat.
Yeah.
Yay, there you go. Beat me to it. Nice.
Oh man. Yeah. Sorry. What did you say, Sarah? Before?
I was just going to say, or drive them off. You don't have to kill them.
Which curse?
The curse that. Have you listened to any of this? Since
You,
we got
were
out of
you
the minecart?
here for all of the things that was going
There
on?
was like a long, boring sound.
Food is supposed to give you energy. Eat more wriggly plant. You'll pay more attention.
I just go over to Ashflower and it's not booze. That's the problem. It's just not booze.
So which curse? The curse of the wiggling plant or what?
The curse of the curse of the
I thought I
Toads.
was the one who hit their head.
Toad people. Toad people. Remember the
The
toad
toad-
people?
the
The,
people
the
curse.
village that's covered in toads
Yeah.
that are actually people.
Yep,
You
yep,
remember
so
that?
that's a
Okay,
curse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Curse.
That's a curse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So miners
these
came
toads-
in here, activated the curse. They got turned into toads. But lizard people are trying to steal the big shiny cursed gems, and they're not turning into toads. So the arbiter of the curse, and I say that with all the reverence and calmness that I can. Thank you. The arbiter of the curse has asked that we get rid of the thieves plundering his cursed diamonds so that he can release the flesh sacks upstairs from their cursed state.
But
I
why
look
is
over
he not
Muriel.
turning?
No offense.
Why is he not turning the lizards into toads?
Because resistance.
They're immune.
But if we get the miners uncursed, will they not get down here and get cursed again? Isn't it not better if we keep them toads?
I'm pretty sure if we explain how they became toads, they'll know how not to become toads.
Yes.
Yeah, because humans are so reasonable. I like this plan.
Hey, we do our part. That's all we can do. If the humans still want to come down and try and plunder this, and I look over to the Toad King, we'll do this. But if the humans come back down, they're on their own.
We'll restore the balance. We can't promise it won't get tipped again.
Yeah.
They must make their own decisions.
Indeed.
What?
Yeah. So we help the curse giver, King Toad. We get rid of the lizard folk one way or another. They stop stealing the diamonds and not turning into toads. As a reward, the Toad King lifts the curse on the townsfolk upstairs. And then that's kind of like, well, we can't teach stupid. Like we can tell the humans not to touch the shiny rocks that turn them into toads. But you know what humans are like? If they want to touch the shiny rocks that turn them into toads, they'll touch the shiny rocks that turn them into toads. So we just help them this one
touch
time.
the
and
shiny
then they're on
rocks
their own.
now.
I'm not touching the shiny rocks. I like not being a toad. It's on my list on the top 5 things I like in this world. Not being a toad is one of them. Not being a
Never
toad.
understood
not-
fascination with shiny rocks myself. What's wrong with
Just like-
trees and
Just like green
stones?
things. Yes, exactly.
Trees can be real mean.
To be fair, I think you started that.
That doesn't change anything. But Muriel had another reason coming here, because wasn't it? Muriel, didn't we come here for some more reason instead of just Toad?
Oh, it was pretty much for the toad.
All toad.
But wasn't there something about the book?
Oh, there was a book. Well, no, well, I mean, we could talk about the book. but he seems kind of tall, so I think we should help him first, and then ask him about the book.
Why? I don't
Regina
think we
just
should
nods
making helping people that are tall a rule, you know? It's not like taller, more help or something.
And just like, hey,
It's mostly the capacity for being squished. That's
You want me to squish something? You want me to squish something?
No, I don't. I don't want anything to get squished.
It's not a size thing, you know?
we know, Regina, we know. No one's saying you can't squish things.
Yes, you can squish all sorts of things.
You-
Anyway,
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Sir Toad, I have this book that I need someone to help me understand. And I was pointed toward you for some reason, and I don't really know why.
Is this lore that you wish confirmed?
I just take out the book and just show him.
Okay. And just quickly remind me, this book was from the end of last adventure, right? The one that
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. 1 second. Just give me a second to find that because it's in the other adventure notes. 1 second. 1 moment. Talk about yourselves. Oh no, actually I have it. I already have it. Never mind.
Out of character for a second. Thank you for reminding me about that because I totally forgot.
Yeah, I'd forgotten to. I even remembered I
was
made
going to
it.
bring it up anyway because I remembered. I did not, however, remember the exact what the toad was from. So,
Yeah.
okay, so give me 1 second here.
The page is turning right now.
You hear Regina muttering about squishing a lizard just to show him.
I am all for squishing lizards, but we should maybe wait just a second.
Okay, so
There aren't any right here.
They only squish them if they need squishing.
So you bring the book over and open it up, and he looks basically down at this. You sort of, well, how do you do it? I mean, do you because he's on an island, so do you? Because there's a bunch of toads that come over towards you, Muriel. So do you open how do you want to get the book over to him? There's just a bunch of toads floating there in front of you.
So I guess I just kind of open it to where I need help and then gesture toward the little toads, like kind of testing to see if I should give it to them or what do they do?
So they line up next to each other so that you're looking at a mat of toads, basically, like toadbacks.
Very, very, very tentatively try to step on one. Just put a little weight and then see if I can walk on
So
them.
one of them is like, "Rrr," and the toad, do not step on my people.
I jump
you hear
back and start apologizing profusely. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I wasn't sure what to do. I'm so sorry. Okay. And I just lay the book down on them.
Muriel, do you want me to just carry it over?
That's a great idea.
Well, once you put you also lay the book down. It probably is too heavy, Regina, for you to hold it and actually hold it in front of him, to open it. You know what I mean?
I imagine Regina pulling that face.
Regina's like, are you saying that I'm? Yeah.
There's a slow flap as well. Her flapping slows down very slightly.
Yeah.
Flaps judgmentally.
Yes, very judgmentally.
But if you want, you can fly over and escort the book, basically, as it is carried over on the backs of these toads.
It will get all slimy.
Well, it's interesting that they keep it completely dry. I mean, no, not slipping on the water as they swim over. And the Toad King bends his great eyes down to look at it, and kind of like his eyes move back and forth. Head doesn't move at all, just his eyes. And then he looks up and says, I can help you. You first must help me.
We will help you, Mr. Toad.
Sorry.
You are having too much fun with this.
You found your calling.
Yeah, you're damn right I am.
Found your calling.
I'm
Just,
having so much fun.
just admit it.
Oh, God. Okay. So he can help you supposedly if you help him.
Well,
We are very happy to help you with your lizard problem. Yes.
So what can you tell us about the lizards?
yeah, like what size are they?
How many are they? What do they carry? Weapons? Do they speak?
Yep, he says they are many in number, but they are small creatures, smaller than any of you except the flying one. They speak some strange language. It is far too swift to be deciphered. And he stops.
I look to the party. Maybe we could try talking to them before squishing them? That's possible, I guess.
Do
The
they?
left other part with the weapons.
Yeah. Are they armed, or are these just creatures that come after your stones?
They carry blades. Through those weapons, 2 of my people were killed. They must answer for that atrocity, but only after they are driven away or killed.
How are you going to make them answer for this atrocity if you kill them?
I have methods. No, he does not have meth, Giblix. It's some methods. Jesus. It's meth.
He clearly doesn't.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
a very different
Yeah.
kind of.
He has math. You can count on him.
Would the general knowledge of what he's told us help Reginald maybe know what we're dealing with? So we know they're lizard people, they're small, they carry blades, and they are apparently quite prodigious tunnelers.
Yeah, or any of us. Like, would any of us know that? Would any of us like just sort of go, "Oh, it's the."
That's
lizard
yeah,
folk."
it sounds like
Yeah.
them.
That's Dave's race. There you go.
Dave's right. Yeah, let me take a look. I think I can have you do. I'm gonna have you do a. Let me have you make a lore check. This would be if you have a focus in monsters, that would be lovely. But if not, simply lore, which is usually a wits check.
Yeah.
Is lore one of those ones you can only do if you have it?
I don't.
Page
Let me
51.
double-check
Hang
if
on.
lore is the case. I don't know. Yeah, only if you know, if you have lore, can you
Only
do
if
it,
you know
yes.
lore. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, because we had that problem earlier with the book,
Yep.
didn't we? 'Cause I
Yeah,
couldn't
the ones that are
remember
like that are artisan, heal, lore, sleight of hand, spellcasting, and tinker. We ran into that earlier with Regina not being able to do sleight of hand because not Regina's thing.
I can do a non-specialized lore with a +4 then, so let's do that. So there we go, 14 with a double 3.
Yeah, I would say, which means probably a great success here. I would say that you would know that these are likely to be creatures known as kobolds. They are small in nature, but they do oftentimes tunnel below the ground. There are goblins that do that as well, but the way they describe it, especially the Toad King describing them as lizard-like, goblins are not really usually lizard-like. The thing about kobolds is that unlike the way that goblins can sometimes be, kobolds have very rather complex relationships to other creatures. They can trace part of their ancestry to draconic lineage even. And so kobolds oftentimes will band together in tribes and work in sort of together against other sort of circumstances. You have not, however, heard of kobolds being able to just naturally resist curses or magic or things like that. And that extra information I gave you was based on the great success that you had with that, by the way, in case you're curious.
Sounds like a kobold infestation. Not usual that they resist curses, though. Aggressive little buggers.
They must leave.
Reasoning with them, bit tricky. Not impossible, but yeah. Probably should still be attempted.
Okay. Well,
So
it's
we're
good
on
to
board
know
then.
what we're dealing with. That's nice. Can you point us in a direction to start? Perhaps King Toad.
And he nods in the direction of one portion of the cavern. Let me reduce that so we can see the cavern again. And in the cavern that he points to, a couple of his big toads and then a bunch of the smaller toads come up to each of you. So basically each of you get like 2 big and 8 small toads per person. And they all lead you over to a spot on the edge of the cavern where there is a small tunnel entrance that's been obscured, and the toads kind of push it a little bit with their little hands and feet until there's just a little bit. You can help if you wish, but once you're able to, maybe a minute or so of digging opens up the tunnel again, so you can now see that it's there. The tunnel is quite small. It won't be a problem for Regina, but for Reginald, Ashflower, and Muriel, you are going to have to crawl. It's not very high.
All
and
it is.
yeah.
So this is what were the creatures? This is the tunnel of the lizard people,
Kobolds.
The
lizard kobolds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we go in, we find the kobolds. We either scare them off or remove them, and then we cure the curse on the humans, and then they just do whatever they want to.
Well, we should at least warn them, and then
Oh no, you're absolutely, yeah. We can even put a sign up if we really want to. Do not touch the cursed stones. But, I mean, Humans have a fascination with shiny objects.
Indeed.
I don't feel like that's relegated to humans.
Is it not?
I mean, have you met magpies?
Well, I've met a few.
This is
I have
true.
met yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Good
In the
point.
Great Forest, there were many raiding parties of humans predominantly looking for treasures and caches of gold and weapons and gems and what have you that have been left off by different people. So I don't know. My experience may differ.
It's
Yeah, but I
true. Magpies don't usually form armies to acquire shiny things.
But a magpie once tried to steal me, so I'm completely with Muriel on that one.
I just look at Regina.
I was just looking. Reginald looked at Regina, just evaluating her level of shininess.
You aren't that shiny.
My armor is apparently.
I see. Maybe after a good polish.
Yes.
And so then you hear from the, will you go and help?
We already said yes, we just need to talk things over.
We like to monologue these things. You'll have to bear with us.
So that's fine. You just hear a bunch of croaking and from around you.
Ooh, how far into the cavern is the other kobolds? Is this like? Because I'm looking at the cavern and I'm looking back at the toad. Right. Because we'd have to crawl. I would definitely have to crawl. And I motion to the antlers. I would definitely have to crawl. Are we talking minutes, hours, days, weeks?
You're asking this of the Toad King?
Of the toad, yes.
He says, I do not know how close these creatures are.
Excellent. Good to know.
Okay. How about I go first with a spear pointing ahead,
That
and
sounds
you
like an
go
excellent
after
plan.
me, like carrying a torch so I can see something or something like that. Because it's going to be dark in there, right? Oh, we could take some of the moss.
Can anybody see in the dark? Because I can't.
I could never see in the dark.
Muriel
Oh.
can.
Muriel
Believe.
can. Excellent.
I've got a torch.
So
I look at the Toad King. I know I'm not allowed to take a stone, but am I allowed to take the moss? Okay.
Full stop.
There could have been a knot.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
It's beat, not.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we could fashion some sort of torch out of that, because if we've got a lit torch in a cavern we have to crawl in, that's not going to be great for anybody, including the torch.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I look at Muriel. So you can literally just see in the dark?
Yes, that is something that I didn't realize I could do. That was unique to me until I realized other creatures can't do that.
That's pretty neat. I want that.
That's very, very cool.
It's pretty cool.
Do light sources stop you seeing in the dark, or is it okay if we have torches around you in the dark?
I mean, it's a little glaring, but like I can kind of deal with it. Just like don't wave them in my eyes, and it's because then it's just like my eyes focus and unfocus, and I get a headache.
Okay, so it's probably best if Regina goes first, because I look over to Regina. If anything attacks you, I'm pretty sure you're well equipped to take care of it. Or if any kobolds come at you first, and then it shouldn't really matter which order we go in, really. I mean, if there's someone who can see in the dark, and Ashlar's still just quite amazed. He's just looking at Muriel like she's a puzzle he can't figure out. You can see in the dark. It's a look he gives her quite often, to be honest with you. So then any of us could go next, really.
Can Muriel go after me just in case she can see better, and then
Yeah,
if something
absolutely.
comes ahead?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So the order is Regina first, and then Muriel, and then who's next, Reginald or Ashlar?
I make the international sign for rock, paper, scissors.
Well, if I go behind you and you get stuck, then we're both stuck.
That's true. That. I'll go last.
On
just
the
in case.
other hand, if I'm going in front of you and I need to stop suddenly, well,
Oh, they don't. No, I kind of bent down a little bit. You see, all of the horns kind of come out in like this manner, sort of like almost like not a center parting, but they kind of sweep sideways and back. So they're out there, but it's like wearing a big hat rather than a big pointy crown. No offense, Mr. Toad. No offense. Think out of character a second. Think the Kimari from Dragon Age. So the Kimari, instead of them being like big devil horns going up, they were normally styled sideways or down. So it's like that. So I might get stuck, but I'm less likely to stab you in the butt.
I'll go third then.
Yep, and I'll go last.
Okay.
I rip off some of the shiny moss.
Yep.
And like put it into different parts of my armor and anywhere where it will stick.
Okay. So it's a funny image actually. So moss is just covered on the shield and all these different parts of it, and pretty soon you have a glowing Regina, and prepared to go. And just as you enter the tunnel,
Let's hope we don't run into any magpies.
Now you definitely look appealing to magpies.
as you are preparing to go in, you hear from behind you, "Safe travels and return when the deed is done." And as he says done, you see he slides off the island, so it's just done. And then just disappears below the water. And the other toads all like go back to their corners, disappear into the shadows or below the water. And after a moment, it feels, although you know this is not true, that the cavern seems empty, even though you know the toads are there in the shadows.
I sometimes question my choices in life.
I just look back at my companions. Are we sure the kobolds talk too fast? Really? Really? And I fly into the tunnel.
I don't really know kobolds that well, but I assume we may have
excitable.
spoken. Yeah, if anyone who talks faster than us could be too fast.
Okay. So all of you head into the cavern. This is a good moment to reset and say hello to everyone who is here. Welcome, GOG viewers. Good to see everybody here watching our Pegasus Spiele sponsored adventure of Talisman Adventures. This is the episode that we are calling Toads and Diamonds, and I am joined as always by Pyron Jade. I am joined as always by Darksaber2K. I'm joined as always by Peripheral Mike, and I'm joined as always by Tasty Chai. You've got a veritable smorgasbord, a cornucopia. Your cup runneth over with tabletop gaming this month on this channel, because this Tuesday is Talisman Adventures, and then next Tuesday and the Tuesday after is Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Sadly not with Chai for those, but with Ananda and these other three fine individuals you see here. So if you like this, please follow the channel. Please let the powers that be at GOG know that you like these kinds of sessions. That is always helpful. And please follow us on our individual channels as well. I do a lot of D&D on my own channel, and a lot of these folks do not only D&D stuff, but also, of course, do streaming on their own channels as well. So you should follow them and do all those kinds of things. And with that said, I have a good commercial voice. Well, thank you, Nerdy Zuff. You mean this one? No, I'm just kidding. But I have my new mixer. Now I get to, I just can pull out the reverb at any time. I just need to add a phaser to it. I take it back, yeah. Okay. So, you go through this tunnel for a bit, and as you're going through, I would like Regina to make an either artisan, if you have this, or an investigation check if you don't have artisan. That's wits test as you're going through.
I don't have artisan nor investigation.
Okay,
so just 3 dice, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, 3 dice plus wits. Okay.
Well, it's a wits test. It's a wits-based test. So, yeah, because investigation.
It doesn't make that big of a difference. Just say.
Yeah.
Okay. Tunnel.
Okay. 13s. That's just a standard success. So you're able to determine that. This is not going to surprise you. Small-sized creatures, bigger than you, but small in general, probably about 1 meter tall or so, dug this tunnel using mining tools. But the thing that's important here is that this is recent. This tunnel looks like it's been done within the last couple of days, maybe. So this is not, months and months or longer than that old. It's very recent, this tunnel. And clearly made by small creatures, presumably kobolds. And as you're flying through and everyone is going behind you, Muriel looking as well, Muriel, you can see, and I'm sorry, did someone say they were carrying a torch or they weren't? It was just Muriel is doing, like, you're all crawling forward, and Muriel, you're able to see, and so right? Like, what people's going, okay. So
Reginald just mentioned he had a torch as an option.
Okay. And you have the glowing moss, that's right. So the glowing moss is good enough to keep you from bashing your shins or anything on things that as you're going along. It doesn't really cast enough light to see forward very much, but that's kind of good because otherwise that would screw up Muriel's night sight, so that just allows Muriel to see what she needs to see. So the small tunnel, Muriel, opens into a much larger oblong cavern where, again, you can see not one but many recent tunnels, and there are numerous crudely made digging tools that lie near each entrance. So there's a bunch of them there, and all the tunnels seem to have caved in. Like, you see a lot of them have been either covered over or they're like you can't see very far down them because there's dirt down them, save one. There is one that is looks like maybe it's the oldest passage. It's the only one that doesn't have any tools sitting next to it. All the other tunnels do have tools, and they're all pretty much caved in, except the one that you just came from, obviously. And this other one that's on the other side of the cavern, which is, again, looks to be the oldest of the tunnels. That one is still open and about the same size.
Well, this doesn't seem smart, does it? Like, all the tunnels are broken.
He did mention that. The Toad King said that the lizard people were caving in all the tunnels.
Yeah,
Did
he
he?
said that the toads are caving in the kobolds' tunnels. That every tunnel they cave in, they just dig a new one, so that the actual source of the kobolds has to be taken care of.
So they came here, caved in like all tunnels except 2? Well, that's weird.
I mean, technically 1 if you consider this one continuous tunnel.
I don't know.
But anyway, luckily we don't have to guess which way to go, so let's just keep going forward.
Okay. I
Less
point
of
my
a
spear
choice,
forward.
more of a lack of options.
Yes.
I point my spear forward and take the next tunnel.
Okay. So that is indeed straight across the cavern. And when you go over to that, you get into it. You think, by the way, that you're going roughly south. Basically, you think. I mean, it's not super easy to tell for any of you which direction, but you think it's roughly south based on where you entered way up at the beginning of the minecart. But you get a little lost down here, in fairness. So this tunnel that you're in twists and turns, and it doesn't actually go all that far. It actually only goes about 3 meters or so before it turns and then opens up into another chamber. This is a chamber of ancient, looks very much older than the cavern even that you were just in. There are stalagmites, stalactites. There are columns of crystal which are filling this chamber. There are shallow pools of water no more than a few inches deep that dot the floor. And you can see, Regina, just from the faint glow of the moss that you have with you, that there are small beetles and other insects crawling around the closest pool to you. There's a little bit of a smell down here as well, and you can all tell that there is what looks like the desiccated bodies, Muriel, you see this in particular, of small forest animals, but also farm animals like pigs and sheep and so on, which are lying decomposing on the floor of this cavern.
Just in case, you had decided on you wanted to talk to the kobolds, right?
Well, my urge to talk to them is passing quickly.
I agree. Kobolds, disruptive. They'll steal anything that isn't nailed down. Driving them off would be for the best.
Yeah,
I would think driving them off would be best, but we could do that with words. Very convincing words. And hopefully not a lot of bloodshed, right? Yes?
No.
Muriel,
We'll
this
see
is
how
your.
things
If
play
you
out.
say we're not attacking them right away, I will not take them right away.
I mean, defend yourself, obviously, but
They
Yeah,
will.
well, obviously.
They may well attack on sight, especially if they outnumber us.
Which they most likely will.
Yeah.
yeah, I suspect there are more than 4.
I mean, they are easily startled, but they usually come back in greater numbers.
Can we just like shout at them or something? Are they afraid of something?
Are they afraid of something?
I think that would depend on... Did I have everybody do a lore check on this, or
That was just me.
No,
It was just you.
only people who, yeah.
Then I would say it was just you, Reginald, right?
Mhm.
I would say you're not going to necessarily know this because you would have known already based on what you knew of kobolds. But I'll give Regina and Ashflower and Muriel a chance here to do a lore check as well to see whether or not you can remember anything that might be disturbing to kobolds.
No, sir.
Can you roll lore without having lore? Because I don't have
Nope.
lore.
None of you have it,
Well,
right?
then
there you
Regina
go.
will
Do not
just
have
stare
lore.
blankly
But
ahead.
Muriel does, right?
Muriel has it.
Okay, so go ahead, Muriel. That's actually, since you asked the question, that makes sense then for you to be the one making the test.
Yes.
Get a call. Kobold Busters!
Oh, wow. 5 plus 3 plus 2
graveyard
plus 6
fall.
plus 2. All right. Okay. So, the thing that you know about kobolds is that kobolds have a tendency to, because of their small size, relatively small size, diminutive size, you know that kobolds usually try to work together to achieve a given end, but they do so by following the orders of the one that is basically the most kind of, not necessarily cruel, although it can be, but dominant of the rest of them. So basically when there's someone who's like, all right, you do this, the kobolds will immediately fall into line. This connects to their interest with dragons, because whenever they're around dragons are always the one who are dominant, and they tell them what to do. So the kobolds are like, yeah, that sounds good with us. If their leaders are sort of taken out of the equation, kobolds become a lot more pliable. Either they surrender, or they run away, or they kind of, scatter to the four winds, whatever, because they really will work together to common purpose if they're led that way. So they're driven by
So
their
if we can
leaders.
get them to take us to their leader and then dispatch of the leader, then we are in a good situation. That's what it sounds like.
That's more or less, yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's a plan. That right there, that's a plan. I like plans.
It's a pretty bloody plan, but yeah, let's go for it. Yay!
I didn't say
cut
how
off-
we would dispatch of him. Just that he would
Cut
be
off the head of the proverbial snake and the followers will scatter.
So how do you usually dispatch of people, Muriel?
and make them sleepy.
Well, the Toad King could have done that himself.
I think he did, judging by how well you paid attention.
He was just, I don't know. I don't think I'm his target audience.
In the distance, you hear
Shh, don't talk
somewhere in the
about it.
tunnels behind you.
I slowly and carefully fly out of the tunnel into the cavern with the dead animals.
Okay. So you fly out into the cavern. So one thing to note, Regina, is that this room that you've just entered is much higher than some of the previous ones where you were. In fact, at the highest point of the ceiling, it's probably almost 15 meters above the floor. So it's a fairly high room. And you can see what look like two tunnels ahead of you, like beyond the room in the far wall, that seem to be going in two different directions. One seems to be continuing the same direction you were going, which is roughly south. And one is to your left, so it's heading to the east, basically. So not counting the one you're from, there are two other exits from this room. As original in Ashlar Muriel, are you waiting for Regina, or are you just like, she goes in and then you're all going to follow after, you know? Or,
I mean, I can see, and I don't see anything dangerous, so I'm just following her.
Okay. Reginald Ashlar?
I'm going to keep moving because nobody's said anything.
I fly up a bit
Yeah,
so
I'm just
that
gonna
I
keep moving.
can at least a little bit illuminate the room.
Okay. So when you fly up a bit, you, with your moss, just sort of... Now remember, the light from the moss is pretty dim, Regina, so it doesn't actually illuminate all that much, but it illuminates enough for you to be able to see. And you are also, after your eyes adjusting, there's a part where you kind of blink because you come into an area where there's actual daylight shining from somewhere far above, and you can see that there's a kind of narrow chimney, almost like a natural chimney, basically extending from the room where you are all the way up. I mean, a long way up. And then obviously exiting somewhere outside the mountain. Much too small for anyone except yourself, probably, or something small like that to be able to pass. But you can definitely see that it's there. The other thing is you also can start to hear this. And everyone hears this at roughly the same time. Give me just one moment.
Sorry, he hasn't used the dragon roar sound effect for a while.
Let's see.
Don't tempt me that bad.
Wow. Okay. That was... Oh, man. Suddenly...
R.I.P. headphone users.
Yeah, right? Craig, exactly, Craig. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. Don't blame me. Okay. Let's see. Does this have what I need?
Hilda's actually recognized the sound. Yes, that was the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very recognizable roar. I love it.
Okay. You begin to hear a
Koboldzilla. He's 6 feet tall.
and you begin to hear this sound. This is Regina who hears this. And like coming basically from you, so you're looking up this chimney that I mentioned, and right near you, Regina, you hear this like a squeaking, like almost like a sound. And there's many of them. In fact, that type of thing.
I fly down again to my companions. There is an opening in the ceiling, and I think I hear bats smooching. Like...
Okay.
like millions of them.
We should probably be very quiet then.
I think we should be quiet.
I don't think we should stop here.
Are you afraid of bats?
I'm afraid of millions of bats.
If we disturb them, the kobolds might know we're here.
I'm afraid of millions of most things.
Well, okay, then sneak.
Okay.
There are 2 tunnels, one to the left and one in the same direction. Muriel, which one do we need to take?
Well, you can see in the dark, right?
Yeah.
Also, she knows the way.
Well, she may not. She knew the way before. She may not leading to the Toad King. She may not know at this point.
How will Georgina know the difference?
Oh, that's
Muriel
true.
knows the
You could
way.
just guess, Muriel. That's true. You'd be like,
As
clearly
long as I'm
it's-
confident, everyone will follow me at this point.
Right, exactly. But I don't think
Pretty
this is a
much, yeah.
decipher test for you because you're outside the bounds of what you know. I would say.
Can I look really hard for anything that would help?
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you make a notice check for me too, please? Which I think is wits, I believe.
I like that Muriel's sort of 30% actual prophecy and then 70% like carnival fortune teller.
That's pretty much, yeah.
You just never know which is which. That's the problem. So you got a big old 8, huh?
Yeah,
So you're like
super helpful, not helpful at all.
you
roll.
kind of squeeze up your eyes and you look and you think possibly that straight ahead of you, in the passageway straight ahead of you seems darker. The passageway that's to the left, which is going to the east, seems to be a little bit light, and you think you can see down it some flickering, like maybe like light flickering or something like that.
I very confidently point left. And then start on my way.
Ashflower
I
just looks at
sneakily-
you again like a puzzle he can't figure out.
I sneakily fly ahead.
I am going to ask you to make a stealth. You're going to see about a stealth test here as you sneakily fly ahead. That'll be you.
Okay.
And I quote, I sneakily fly ahead. We're going to call that stealth. And I believe you can try to do stealth even if you don't actually have that ability.
I do have stealth.
Okay, that's right. Stealth is agility anyway, so.
Yes.
All right.
I do. Oh, I accidentally closed roll 20. I do have stealth. And I'm really bad at it right now.
Yeah, so you begin to fly across with Reginald and Ashflower and Muriel moving across as well. And Regina, you go right into this place where Muriel said that she had seen flickering, right? Like movement of some kind.
Yep. She didn't say that. She just said left.
Oh, okay. She didn't say the flickering? Okay, she just said left. All right. So you fly ahead, and you're flying ahead, and there's a moment where you hear, and then they didn't do it right. There we go. Where you bump into something furry, actually somewhat like this mic holder out again, furry and soft, and then you hear, and suddenly flying out along with a bunch of others are bats. In fact, I even have a picture of these bats. They look like this, coming up on OBS right now. They look like this, and they come flying out of the tunnel, and as they do so, all of you hear them flying down from up top in the ceiling as well. We, folks, have a surprise round because these are not normal bats. They are vampire bats. Let's fire up some music here. And let's get it moving with this.
I think I accidentally smoothed one of them. I just fly directly with my head into its fur.
I'm starting
Okay.
to wonder if sending the person who could see in the dark first would have been the better idea.
Yeah, they're totally not mad. Exactly, Infinity.
But now we'll never know.
Okay. So, what this means is that I'm going to need each of you, please, to make a notice test. This is basically to see if you were surprised. Now, the DC, the good news is that the DC is a little bit lower because you were sort of alert. I'm not going to say that you were distracted. You were paying attention. So, yes.
I'll take an 18 with 2 double 5s.
All right.
Notice with wits or notice with inside?
Wits.
Why?
Because
Oh.
wits.
Notice with waste, you said.
My insight would have been even better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 6351. Okay.
That's about.
Alrighty.
I noticed the bats. They are here.
Yes, you're like, the bats exist. Okay. Who else have I got?
Me. Oh, excellent.
Okay.
I got a 13.
13.
But double 5s. 553.
Okay. So, what that means is that Reginald, you are not surprised. And Regina is not surprised. Muriel and Ashflower, on the other hand, are definitely surprised. So,
Aw, even with my 5s?
even with your 5s, yeah, because you didn't beat the DC. If you
I
beat the
know.
DC, it would have been a great success. And in fact, while we're on that subject, Regina does not get a great success, but Reginald does. So Reginald, not only are you able to see, like, are you not surprised, you can also see the number. What you think you're looking at here, just kind of getting a sense of it here, is that there are about 10 of these vampire bats. Now, vampire bats, remember, are not that big. So sometimes people are like, what, 10 vampire bats? Well, they're not enormous, right? But they are, you know, dangerous and obviously hostile. So you know that there are about 10 of them flying about your heads and such. Regina, neither you nor Reginald are surprised. So, and in fact, actually, yeah, yours was not an extraordinary success, though just a great success. Yeah, so you can act normally and you know that. Okay. So, that means that, actually, I take that back. The PC, so that means that Reginald can act normally, and I gave you that information. Regina is actually only, as a standard success, that means you're only partially surprised. So, when you are partially surprised, it means you can take actions as normal, Regina, but each one is at a -2 penalty to any action. So the only exception there is if you wanted to defend, you could do that with no penalty. But otherwise, any other action you take would be at -2. Player characters who are surprised do not get to take actions at all, so the enemy gets to basically attack you freely. And if you are not surprised, then obviously that doesn't apply to you, and you're good. So in this first turn, the only one who's going to be able to act is going to be Regina and Reginald. So you can decide what order you want to take your turns in, basically. And then, as I said, Regina will get that negative to actions that she takes, except for defend. Reginald can do whatever he wants. Ashflower and Muriel, you're out until the next round, and then you'll be there.
Okay. How big's the area we're in terms of meters?
So this room is probably a good it's 10 to 15 meters above the floor, so it's not an enormous chamber, maybe 30 feet. So what does that work out to in meters? I should have Effect Life's converter up for me. Is that about like 10 meters? I think 3 feet in a meter. Does that make sense?
That's roughly in my head how I have it.
All
Yeah,
right,
I know
so
it's
yeah.
not precise. But...
So I'd say about 10 to 12 meters round and about 10 to 15 meters high.
Okay. Because I've got an area of effect spell that covers 10 meters from my target.
Okay.
So I could go first and the rest, everyone else can react accordingly based on how that works.
Okay.
How many cell sinks? That would be 3.3 cell sinks.
Excellent. Just so we're keeping that meme alive.
Regina,
If we ever
so
do
you're going to go
merch,
first,
right?
and then Regina. Is that the plan?
Unless anybody else has an idea, but since I'm not surprised, it makes sense that I would act
Yeah,
first.
it's only Regina
and-
who would be the only other person who could
Yep.
do anything.
Yeah, and I've got a pretty good opening shot, assuming it works, of course. Dice gods.
Yep, I would. Yeah. I'm still a bit more surprised than Reginald. So yep, let's have him go first.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So you're going to get a chance to do your spell just XM in feet. Yeah, I just didn't pop it up Effect Life. I mean, I have Effect Life's bot, which he has made for the use on my channel, by the way. Effect Life is a programmer who actually has done a new version of my ARVbot called ARVbot Plus, and it can do conversions too. So Effect Life is awesome and has done some cool stuff. Okay. So you're going to do... So what are you casting, Reginald, then, in this area?
Well, everyone feels their hair start to get blown in the wind as Reginald conjures up another gust of wind.
Ah, gust of wind.
On the nearest bat to the party, or himself, then.
Okay.
And this will affect every enemy, assuming with the chat passes, every enemy within 10 meters will be affected by this.
That's pretty much all of them.
Yeah. Okay, so what do I need to roll for this again? Oh, it's my spell casting, isn't it? Yeah, I get confused. It mentions like difficulties and things, but yeah, I just do my spell casting, which will be... Give me a sec. This is getting into Celsig levels of modifiers at the moment with my spell casting. So it's 3d6 plus 5 plus the bonus for nature, so that's a 7. Here we go. Opening shot. 17.
Okay. So, let's see. Now do I pull out the... Do I use my Dark Fate is the question to increase this threat?
I mean, you could. I also have a trick up my sleeve in response if you do.
I see. Let me see if I even want to do Dark Fate. Yeah, I can't do it as a reaction anyway. I wasn't planning on it this first round.
Okay.
I will not use it this first round. So, that is going... That will hit them.
Okay.
Will hit all of them.
Nice. That's going to be 1d6 plus my craft, freshly upgraded from my level rise. That's 1d6 plus 6. Well then. 7.
Wow. Okay.
And all the bats are knocked to the ground.
Well, okay. So 7. So here, this is hilarious. So these creatures have 0 armor, and do you know how much life they have?
1 or 2, I was figuring.
They have 7. So when you do 7, literally you come in, everyone's like, ah, and you're like, and just like 10 bats pour from the ceiling. They all hit the ground, and there is an eerie silence.
Oh.
That's what happens. They all hit the ground. There is an eerie silence, and there seem to be no more bats.
Reginald is very much failing to not look smug right now.
Well done! You did the thing! Thank you!
Ashflower's just like, bats!
Yeah, exactly.
He's still at that stage of the encounter.
You hear one fading, like as the last bat
One
expires.
last bat just falls out of the sky, just like lands on Ashflower's head, just like boop.
Yep.
That is... Oh, very dangerous for small flying things. Reginald stares at you for a while.
I'd preferred not to have to kill them.
Good. Okay.
I mean, we did kind of invade their home.
Well, we are 4 people. It's kind of not an invasion force.
I hold up one of the dead bats and say, have you seen the size of this?
What is the scythe thing with you people? I go on towards the left tunnel.
Okay. So you head to the left tunnel, stepping over the dead,
Massacred,
non-moving bodies of the bats that the Game Master is still kind of conjuring with the fact that all of those bats were taken out by one gust of wind. You said
And
7.
the last, and the last story, I killed the final boss with it. I
Gust
thought
of
Lightning
wind,
Bolt
man.
would be my spell, but no.
Yeah. Wait till I start hitting you up with some stone elemental. Immune to wind. Oh crap. Anyway, very
Shatter.
effective. It led to a great visual, so I like that image. I should have brought in Batman at that point, but in any case. So when you go down the eastern tunnel, the one that's to the left, and you're doing the same kind of order, so Regina's in front and then Muriel right behind, is that right? And then Reginald and Ashflower? Okay. So as you go across there, the eastern tunnel begins to get narrower and narrower until, Regina, you reach a point where it's too narrow for anyone but you to be able to navigate. So
I
you
look
could
back
keep
to
going, but
Muriel.
nobody else could.
Are you sure about this? Shall I go through?
You could go through quietly and then report back.
Okay. I go through quietly and then report back.
Okay. So you go forward a little bit more. And as you go forward, Regina, I would like you to make a notice test for me, please. Wits. Notice wits.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. All right. Well, so, and you got a 1 on the Kismet die?
Yeah, I do.
I believe that's going to provide me with a next Dark Fate. Not that,
Yeah.
not that I would use that at any time.
Oh.
I didn't even have a chance. 5, I should have just been like, all my Dark Fate. Each one is 5 more vampire bats. Okay. No. So, yeah, you don't really, the only thing I wanted to point out is that there feels like as you're going through the tunnel, something has been using this, obviously, but it is too small for most, people above your size to be able to use, which seems strange that this tunnel, unlike the other ones, has not been caved in and hasn't been, it looks like the other tunnels, other than it's just smaller than the other tunnels for whatever reason. And you go along until, finally, you enter a chamber. It is one side of a chamber which, unlike the previous ones you've been in, looks to be made of worked stone, by which I mean actual stone walls as opposed to just cavern walls. And there is on the walls, sort of going up above you, you can see that there are what look like, used to be it's pitted with holes. It looks like it used to basically be walls of what you might guess would be almost like a temple or some kind of ziggurat or some building or something. But inside the walls are what looked like used to be something was inside the walls. Something was basically covering these walls, and whatever those things were that were covering them have all been removed. So the whole thing looks like it was hit by a bunch of stones or something. There's all these chunks and divots and little, chips and stuff that are in the side of the walls of this thing. And on the eastern side of this chamber, there is a crumbling statue that is watching over the room. More immediately relevant to you, though, besides what I've just described, is you see 8 little, and more, not so much you see, because, you just have the faintness of the moss, but you maybe see some motion and you can hear there are small creatures talking. A number of them.
In this room, I guess.
In this room on the far wall. Yeah, or near the far wall.
Okay. I fly back into the tunnel, squeezed through the small, narrow gap, back to the others.
Okay.
It's a proper room there, like a big one with a statue. Statue of what, by the way?
The statue, from what you could see, roughly looked like a humanoid with scaly skin and 4 arms. But that was all you could see from where you were on your side of the cavern.
Okay. and it has a lizard person statue, and I think I heard what maybe be kobolds on the far side of the rooms, like many of them. But the whole room looks like it was attacked. At some point, it's like crumbling, and there's the holes in the walls and broken stuff, and yeah, that's it.
Are we still
You're
crawling
still
in the
here.
tunnel at this point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were right
Yeah?
at the spot. Yes, but you were stopped right before it got too small for the rest of you to go. So
Why have we stopped?
There was a narrow gap. I went through, and then there was all the things I just said.
I can't hear you. There's two people between us.
I fly up to Ashflower. So, I flew through the gap.
Hello.
There.
Hi.
Hi. Let's have a proper greeting. Hello, Ashflower. How are you doing?
Hi, Regina. Yeah, I'm not bad.
Good.
I'm a little cramped. I'm not gonna lie. My legs are starting to cramp up a little bit, and I keep scraping my my antlers on the roof.
That doesn't sound comfortable.
It's
Could we
not-
maybe pad your antlers with something? Would that help?
I hadn't really thought about that. Do you have anything you could pad my antlers with? I don't feel this is the time or the place.
Which other time would you want to have your antlers petted? Petted.
Leaving that one well alone. Um, well, preferably where I could move. I'm kind of stuck in a certain position here. Did you find anything up above? Why have we stopped?
So there, the tunnel is very narrow, and there was a small gap, and I went through, and there was a proper room that has a lizard person statue. And I think at the far side of the room, maybe some goblins talking. And it was like a proper room, like made of stones, and it looked like it was attacked at some point because it had like holes in the walls, and it was all crumbling and like a ruin. And that's what I saw. And now you know.
Did you see any way we could get in?
No?
Hmm.
We could maybe dig through and make
That's
it
what I was thinking.
bigger.
Like, could we like force our way through the hole and enlarge it in so doing, or is it like bedrock?
it's not bedrock, but it would take you two problems. A, it would take you a while, and B, it's gonna make a lot of noise.
We could just check if there's a way around the other tunnel.
But Muriel said this tunnel.
I said this tunnel so we could know what's in the next room and not be surprised by it. So now we need to backtrack and go to the other tunnel.
Wait.
Next up, we
Okay,
do a
then.
horoscope.
Yeah.
Okay, Mystic Muriel, let's go. I
Just in
start
case
literally.
you guys weren't sure, if you were born on a Tuesday, it's gonna rain tomorrow.
I see tunnels in your future.
Okay, so you're going back the other way.
Yeah, we're
crawling.
awkwardly
Let's just-
backtracking.
Yeah, let's paint a proper picture here instead. Let's not gloss over this, okay? We're literally
Please
hands
paint
and
me the
knees,
picture.
having to crawl backwards.
We're human
this.
centipeding it
Each
backwards.
Wow.
of us are just hoping that we stay a steady pace. No one goes too quickly.
Oh,
No one goes too
my
slow.
Heavens.
Really starting to wish my antlers pointed upwards at this point.
Okay, so you make your way back, like backing up, with Ashflower backing up and Muriel, and then Regina sort of. I have this image of Regina being like flying up and then waiting, and then flying up and then waiting, and then flying up and then waiting, like as they move back. And when you finally pull yourself back out in the vampire bat's chamber, you can then go in the other direction if you wish, which seems to be much wider, that other path, by the way.
Yes. I
Regina?
immediately just start heading that way.
I said, Regina, would you like to go this way first and let us know if there is an exit down this tunnel?
Yeah, and while I do that, the others could pet your antlers,
That's an excellent idea.
like with bandages or something. And I go down the
Yes.
tunnel.
Okay. All right. So this one is considerably, as I said, more considerably wider, and I would like. I guess I'll have everybody can do this. Well, do I? No. I want Muriel to make this check. Actually, Muriel, can you make please a notice test for me? Wits. This is. And actually, no, because Regina has the moss. Muriel and Regina, please, both can make this. Okay.
So wait, is this in the tunnel?
In the tunnel, yes.
I thought is Regina not the only one in the tunnel at the moment?
No, I just started heading that way.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't
yeah, got
even
it.
stop.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is that not true? Did it? I mean.
Yeah, no,
Oh yeah,
that
that's
is-
what
that
I
is
did.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is true, yes.
Okay. So Regina, take that extra dark fate. Appreciate that. So Regina does not, but Muriel, I think you would notice the fact that this passage looks as if it has been rarely used. There are, the other tunnels have all had like signs of fresh digging or like, dirt right around it, but this one seemed pretty dry, relatively speaking, and without a lot of obvious tracks, and kind of, again, like it has not been used very much. And as you're sort of thinking about that, considering that, you're also got something else that might be the case as well. I need you to make for me. Okay. I think that notice check would allow you to be able to. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you to make one more notice. Basically just redo that test. But this one is only Muriel. Wow, look at these rolls. Okay.
I know, right? Just wait until we're in combat and I'll start tanking.
Okay. So the good news is that you successfully see something. The bad news is that you, although you see it, may be unable to avoid triggering it. As you step forward, as you're walking / crawl, you're not crawling at this point because it's not as small as the other tunnel. You're walking along, and as you step on something, I mentioned the fact that you were able to notice that this hadn't been used for a while. So a little bit of dust goes up, and you feel your foot kind of drop slightly below the level of the floor, and then something gives way. So I'm going to give you a chance to either make an athletics or a sleight of hand, which you may not have, so probably just athletics, check to avoid falling in to what this is.
Athletics is that, which one is that?
I think athletics is brawn, I think.
Brawn? Okay.
Athletics can
Or
be
is
brawn,
it agility? I guess it's brawn or agility, actually.
It can be brawn, agility, or metal.
And it actually, you know what I'm looking at it? Agility, yeah. It's agility. So athletics, agility. Yep. So
I'm a scholar.
that is not so much. You fall into a pit. You all suddenly see Muriel go, "Boop," and drop into a pit. And when you hit the ground, there is a sort of unfortunate squishing sound that you hear. Because when you hit the bottom, which is 5 meters deep, so about a 15-foot, roughly speaking, trap, there were some spikes, Muriel, that were up here. And you take 13 points of damage as you squish into these spikes. Now, because this is damage that would go to your armor first, what's your armor value right now?
I am not sure actually. Let's
Okay, because
see.
that's going to be important.
Yeah, well, I have leather armor.
Good.
Let's see.
That's
And
positive.
I've been hit once. I have one black.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you have another one of those black ones that has just been marked off by doing this.
Okay.
And then what was your armor? I need to find out what your armor value was because that will diminish the amount of actual life damage you take.
Right. I thought we were just looking at standard leather armor, but
Let me take a look here. Standard leather armor.
so I don't have anything different written down.
Hold on, I will check it out then. Yeah, armor value is a little bit different in the way that this is managed, Echo. So
Yeah.
Leather armor is 4. Light leather armor has a protection of 4.
Or okay.
right, and actually, although according to what I see here, it looks like armor leather has 3 armor points though, from what I see on the armor chart.
Yeah, I thought it was 3.
Yeah.
Is it 3?
So I think that means that we're talking 13 minus 3. And as I said, that part is marked off. Although, actually, so you started with 3, but one of those was marked off already?
It
you said?
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means you had a functional value of 2.
2.
And one of those has now been marked off. And it's marked off with an X, meaning this thing is broke. You got to refit it. So, so that means literally all you take off is 1 point of damage. However, the good news is 13 minus 1 is 12, and that's 1 point less than your entire life.
It
so
is, yeah.
You're
So
still alive.
I didn't totally die.
So you were at the bottom of this pit, and a lot of pain, Muriel. A lot of pain.
Yeah, not feeling good at the moment.
And the rest of you, like Ashflower, you can stop when you feel the the spot sort of below you. And Regina, you're on the other side, hovering.
Yes.
I think I just lay there and cry. I think that's what I do.
Oh no, Muriel, she fell down. No. I fly into the hole and
Okay.
check whether she is okay, which she is apparently not
It's
because
definitely
she's...
not okay.
What did you fall on? I tried to look below her.
There are stone spikes, Regina. A fair number of them.
You should not do that. Oh god. We need to get you up there again. How deep is the hole?
5 meters deep.
I fly up again to the others. I think we need a rope. Does anybody except me have a rope?
I think I left my rope at the start of the mine shaft.
That's true.
I do not have a rope.
Let me check if I have a rope.
My inventory says I do not have a rope. Not that it would do me any good right here.
However, my equipment also said I still had the talisman from last session, which obviously I don't. I put that back.
no. Exactly, Shiblix. I left my rope in my other dungeoneering kit.
So in true talisman tradition, while everyone else is working on this, I'm going to nip to the middle.
Teak and G are saying any dental floss, but the thing is that we actually exchanged my rope for yarn
Yes.
due to my size.
Yes.
That's true.
Any needle thread? No. So when you say nip to the middle, what do you mean, Reginald? You mean...
No, it's just talisman.
Oh,
While everyone else is
yeah,
distracted, I'll
middle
make
is
a
in the
break
middle realm.
for
Oh,
it.
yeah. Of course, that's what you would do, naturally.
Okay.
I've
So-
really got nothing I can do to contribute to this, I'm afraid.
You mean
Muriel
you can't
is
gust
down
of
there.
wind her out of the pit, can you, Reginald?
I'm not that kind of druid.
Muriel is down there. It's like 5 meters down, and she's on stone spikes, and she is crying. I need help. Like, she needs help.
Is there a way of getting down there without landing on a stone spike? Could I lower myself down there, like gently lower myself down and try and make sure I don't land on a spike? Because I know I'm not going to like touch the floor.
Right. You
With-
can
I'm gonna-
And we
There's
have
gonna
2
be a
people in the
drop.
pit.
Yeah, you can diminish the opportunity to hit a stone spike. You can't eliminate it completely if you're just like letting yourself down and then dropping. Because you're probably like 2 meters ish, like you're probably 6 feet ish or something. And
Yeah.
so you figure that still puts you 9 feet, which is roughly 3 meters or so still above the floor. So you can diminish the opportunity for you to get hit by spike, but can't remove it completely.
And even if you're in there, we still need to get you out of there as well.
I'm trying to look at what my class starts with equipment-wise.
I fly down to
Get
Muriel
Muriel
again.
out. I have got a
Okay.
first aid kit and a healing skill.
I've got a
I'd
healing
fly down
spell
to
that
Muriel.
you can use.
I fly down to Muriel. Muriel, we need to get you off the spikes real carefully, okay? So that you can like stand between the spikes with your feet and not lie on them.
Is Muriel actually impaled at the moment, or is it just a case of she's landed on the spikes and then kind of is off of them? But
she was sort of impaled. She's able to pull herself off. It was kind of, some of it stuck through her armor, which is the damage that was done to her armor. So it's pretty, I mean,
Muriel, can you walk at the minute? This is Ashflower asking Muriel, can you walk at the minute?
Amy, I haven't tried.
Okay. Bear with me a second.
I fly under Muriel and try to like push her carefully up a bit so she gets into standing. Come on, stand up, stand up, stand up.
I attempt to stand.
You can do that. You're able
I'm
to
going to cast
stand up.
healing on Muriel. As one of my soul rune spells, I have healing. I'm just not sure how I cast it as a lay walker.
Are you able to do that at range? Before I look at the casting of it.
So it says you call upon mystic healing magic to aid another character or ally who is injured. Choose yourself or an injured target that you can see.
You can see, yeah, okay. Yeah, so you can do that.
So on a success, you heal your target for 1d6 life or 1 wound. But I'm not sure how I cast spells as a lay walker, so bear with me.
I think it functions. The fluff might be different, but mechanically it's the same, as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So you roll against your spell casting.
And it's an 11 that you're trying to beat. So, because that's the difficulty listed under the spell.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is spellcasting? Bear with me a second.
So
I've never had to cast a spell before.
Oh, really? So it is a spell casting test, is what you're going to do.
Yes.
And spell casting for you, I believe, is driven
Brave
by.
New World, people, brave new world.
Yep, that's the wrong place. So spellcasting is like that. 55, 122. Okay.
So healing is a
55.
mystic
So basically, that
spell?
means that you're making a.
So it's going to be insight.
It's so the focus is arcane. So you're looking at actually for you would be mystic or nature. Are you?
Healing is a basic mystic spell.
Basic mystic. So it'd be insight. So you're making an insight check, but if you have a mystic focus, then according to our handy dandy Pyron Jade made RPG skill check,
Yes.
then
Diagram of Destiny.
So if you have the skill and you do,
Diagram of
then do you have a focus in the skill? If you do, then it's 3d6 plus that aspect, which is insight, and then plus 2 if you have a focus in mystic. If not, then it's just 3d6.
My focus
is
my
not.
focus is in arcane.
Okay, so then it's just 3d6 plus aspect. So it's just 3d6 plus insight.
3d6 plus insight. Thank you all. Apologies for being slightly rusty with that. I've never had to do it before.
No, that's fine.
Advanced. 3d6 plus 3. Pew. Let's see what that does.
All right.
That is 12 points. So you receive 12 points of healing.
Well, hold on a second. Not quite what that means. 12
Okay.
means that you succeeded.
I see.
So
You didn't make it worse.
yeah, exactly.
There we go.
So
I see. Yes, sorry, I'm using D&D rules.
So
in my
that
head,
means
sorry
now
about
you heal your target for 1d6 life, is what that
that.
means.
Yes, that's right.
And a wound, by the way, would have happened if Muriel had hit 0, which she almost would have if she were not protected by her armor. So
I could have helped with that.
There you go. A 5.
yeah. Okay, so 5 points.
I mean,
So you're
you still
back
feel
up to now
rough,
6. 6, Muriel, is what you're at now.
Thank you. I feel much better.
Go
You guys
take a
notice,
walk.
Like, the runes on my body just glow slightly, and some of them just fade very slightly as well.
I look at the
now.
walls, like, is there like a handy ladder, steps, anything to get her out of here?
There were
for
not.
people who.
This clearly looked like something that people were supposed to stay in when they fell. In fact, looking down at it, Regina, you can see there are some bones scattered among the spikes on the floor.
Oh, cool. Is there loot?
No, it doesn't look like it. Just bones. Unless the bones are the loot.
Well, I thought maybe they fell down with their equipment, you know?
Appears they are not there.
Speaking of equipment, as part of my starting kit, I have a blanket and a climbing harness, which I did not know I had. So I'm aware the climbing harness might not be as useful as we want it to be, but we would be able to fashion something out of these two things in order to get Muriel out of this hole.
So like knotting the blanket, or twisting it essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
Be helpful if anyone else had blankets to add to that mix instead of just the one blanket. I mean, I don't know about you. My blankets usually are not, 3 meters or whatever it is, and 5 meters. And
Well, my character's like 6 foot something. This blanket's got to be like at least 5.5 foot, right? If I just tie it to my ankle and dangle myself off the edge.
Okay, so you're gonna put you down plus the blanket. All right, I guess you could do that. You could tie the blanket to your foot.
It's a blanket lay walker rope ladder.
Okay, I'll buy that. Now,
grab the blanket. Grab the blanket.
1 point, Ashflower. You can do this. You will need to make a test to sort of get yourself out, although other people, Reginald, can probably help pull you. I do want to point out
No! I'm not pro. I am the worst person for that task.
Well, Regina can try as well.
Can I push Muriel from below?
I guess.
We're assisting Muriel climbing, and
Yeah.
we're assisting me getting back up.
Yeah.
We're not dying in this hole, I'm telling you.
I'm not dying in this hole.
I will take up a position. I have got something I can do, and if the worst happens, so.
Gust of wind. No.
See you suckers.
I'll solve all my problems with a gust of wind. I've tried.
What you can do here is I will allow Reginald and Regina to use what we call an assist action, which out of combat means that you, if you have an appropriate skill, and I'll accept pitches on this, then you can help with what Ashflower is doing. So, Ashflower, I'm assuming that what you're doing is some kind of an athletics, I would say, check to be able to get this thing and hold it down. So if Regina and Reginald, if you two have things that are appropriate for helping in the way that you want to assist, like Regina, you wanted to push, Reginald, you want to pull, that sounds like athletics to me, then you can do that. And that would allow you to basically make a test. And if you are, let's see, when you assist another character, you roll 1d6. If the result is equal or lower to than the skill, an aspect you're using to assist, then you add the number on the die to the other character's roll. So in other words, let's say that you're doing athletics and you're using brawn for this as opposed to agility, which would be the case here. You roll a die and on a 1d6, and if it's lower than your brawn skill, just like the raw number, then you can add that to the roll of Ashflower, who's the one who's actually trying to lift her out of the pit. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have athletics and I do have brawn.
Okay.
I don't, but what I do have is my Anointed by Oak trait. So I'll spend my light fate, and with the cracking of tree trunks and the strength of the forest, my muscles start to bulge.
Oh, nice.
As I am now using my resolve as my brawn score. So I have a brawn of 5 for this.
Perfect. Then I would like you to roll 1d6, and I'd like Regina to roll 1d6. Reginald, you're looking for 5 or less. And
got a 2.
Okay. Regina, what's your brawn / athletics?
3.
Sadly, that's not going to work. Then you're like, oh, this is so. Why doesn't this work? You're trying to push up on Muriel. It's not working out. But Reginald, you do add 2 to Ashflower. All right, Ashflower, you're going to make an athletics. This is a brawn check, and you'll add 2 to that roll because of Reginald's assistance. Reginald turning into the swamp thing, yeah.
Too much. Yep. 11 and a double 2.
Okay, 11 and a double 2, and that, but that doesn't count the +2 from Reginald, right?
No. Wait, no. I don't think so.
So that'd be a 13?
So we're talking about a 13. So a 13 is actually just enough. It's a good thing you got that assist. You're able to pull yourself back up, and Muriel, you like hold on, Regina buzzing around below you, and you're able to pull yourselves back onto the side of the pit. And because it was a great success, Ashflower, and not just a standard success, no one gets hurt in the process. Like everybody, gets up on the side. That's the good news. Not as good news is that you're on still the wrong side of the pit, because there was no way for you to, Ashflower, without like throwing yourself into the pit, to get to the other side. So you're now standing on the other side of the pit, and you have to figure out a way to get over it. I mean, Regina doesn't have a problem; she can just fly over it. But everybody else,
No, but we're all on the previous side of the pit.
right? The side that you were coming from.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well,
Muriel
I
is up
buzz,
there.
I buzz around Muriel, really worried, and like petting a bit of dust off here and there.
I
Mixed
could
with
do
blood.
some first.
kind of worried as well.
I could do first aid if we take a short rest as well. That can potentially heal some more. But that's
rest.
party decision.
Rest sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Muriel might be able to, because I was looking at the actions, Muriel might be able to, as part of her short rest, take a recovery action too. But not. Let me just double check that, because this is all new stuff for me.
Yeah, I don't know how resting works in Talisman.
So the way that resting manages is if you do a short rest, that's basically 15 minutes, okay, of complete and uninterrupted rest, and you can't do anything other than light physical activity. So you can try to do first aid, and we'll talk about that if you want to try that. You can try to refit armor, and I can think of someone who might want to do a little work on that. And then you can also try to what is called recover action. I need to double check and see how many recovers you can make in a day. You can also try to recover spell points as well, which might affect only Reginald at the moment. I don't think anybody else used those.
I believe recovers is equal to your resolve. I think I saw that. It's in the combat section. Because you can do combat recovers as well, which I've only just found out.
Yep.
So like I say, if we're doing a short rest, I can do some first aid and attempt to heal Muriel up a little bit more. Because I've seen enough dead bodies. I think I know how a living one's supposed to work.
Yeah, so for the recover action, you make a test, basically a fortitude test. And if you are successful, then you are able to restore some life. And you have as many recovers, as you said, equal to your resolve. And those reset when you take a full rest. Good news here is that, as I said, this tunnel is very seldom used. So it's been a while since anything else has come along in the tunnel, presumably.
So are we taking, in Talisman, is there the concept of a short rest and a long rest?
Yep. A long rest is at least 8 hours of uninterrupted rest. Okay. And a short rest is just 15 minutes.
Well, how long are we thinking of resting for? I'm looking at the rest of the party now.
I mean, we're kind of in enemy territory, so like 15 minutes seems kind of pushing it a little bit.
I mean, I think we'll be
sure.
fine for 15 minutes. I'm not sure we'll be fine sat here for 8 hours.
Oh no, I wasn't proposing a long rest.
No, 15 minutes, it's fine.
Well, I didn't know. I motioned to the only runes that are still glowing on my body. I'm like, I could do that again if that helps, but I would have to wait until the next day for my magic to recharge.
Keep your magic just in case.
Okay.
And keep glowing. It's really cool.
Really cool.
You should see a group of us together. It's amazing. It's beautiful in the moonlight.
I'd love to. Maybe after I'm done dying from.
I tell you what, and you've definitely earned a trip to the Great Forest where me and my kin spend their time.
Don't come to my Great Forest where my kin spend their time. They all suck.
One note about recovery, by the way, outside of combat, a recover action is automatically a success. Inside combat, you have to make a test, but outside of combat, recover is automatically a success, and then it counts against that number, as I mentioned, in a resolve. So it counts against the total you can make in a day. Can only do one recover action per short rest. So just be aware, you can only do that once during this short rest.
So, okay,
I'm specifically doing first aid on Muriel.
Okay, so to be clear, so you folks are going to do a short rest here?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
So then you can do first aid. So the
so,
way
yeah.
that works is, this is for the benefit of chat because we haven't done first aid before. First aid requires a healing insight test against difficulty 14. And that's what Reginald's going to try to do.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, my focus in healing is on disease, but I still get my +3 for having a healing skill.
Okay.
So here we go. 3d6 plus 3.
It all depends on how great those spikes were.
13.
Not quite enough. Sadly, no life is restored. Unfortunately.
Okay, so then you were saying I can do a
You can do a
test?
recover action. Yes, indeed. That
Okay.
will automatically succeed. So you roll 1d6, and that's the amount of life that will be used. That you'll
Okay.
get back.
It's a shame because a great success is 2d6 life.
Yep, exactly.
That's nice. And that can heal wounds as well if anyone gets in that kind of state.
Okay, 3 points. What's up, Kilgore? So that means you're up to 9 out of 13. So just note that you have, what's your total resolve, Muriel? You?
1.
Okay, well,
you
you used it up.
Yep.
It's used. Still, 9 is better than 1, which is where we were at not long ago.
Yeah, now I'm feeling much better. I feel like, I could go for a walk.
Actually, Regina and Ashflower, there's no reason that they also couldn't try first aid checks. It doesn't say that, Reginald can only try once per time, but another one could attempt.
Is first
Yeah,
aid a
it-
skill?
Oh, wait, hold on. No, I'm wrong. A single character can't receive more than one first aid attempt. Okay, never mind. I take it back.
And heal is you have to have it skill as well. You can't check without it.
You're out of luck. So it's just
Good thought,
a
though.
recovering life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
But
you can't also retrofit your armor, Muriel, because you spent the time recovering. But I feel like life is better than.
Yeah,
armor in this
that's what
case.
I thought too. I was trying to decide which way to go, but life, yes.
But can
Go
I
ahead, Regina.
can I retrofit her armor? Like she's wearing it, so I like just pull it back as in form?
Doesn't look like that. You can refit your own armor because you know the way that it works and functions on your body, but it does not say that you can retrofit others. I do think that there's probably like smithing ability. Let me take a look at the repairing armor just to be sure, but I'm pretty confident you can't do someone else's armor. But let's make sure. Repairing armor. With all those holes, can you call it armor at this point? Yeah, I mean, it's loosely armor, right? It's more of an idea, really.
I
don't
mean,
have-
come on. There's bikini armor in RPGs with high armor ratings. This is fine.
If anything, it's more protective.
Exactly. And it's fashionable now. So, because you can buy pre-ripped jeans. So it's just the same thing.
Pre-damaged
Exactly.
armor.
Your armor now has speed holes, so you can run faster.
Exactly. See, that's what it is.
If anything like tinker or smithing is required to retrofit somebody else's armor, I can already say Regina does not have that because that would
Yeah.
imply she has something like a real job, which she does not.
Yeah, exactly. Repairing for sure you wouldn't be able to do, and refitting I don't think so. Yeah, I would say not, Regina. Unfortunately, this is a Muriel thing to do for her own armor. Just align the holes in the armor with the holes in the body. I think they were aligned, Main Sir Main. I think the holes were aligned just fine. So the armor is now repaired. The armor is now repaired. Your body is now repaired at least to 9 out of 13 life. So, but you're on the wrong side of the pit.
I did notice that, which is really unfortunate because I feel that hole is not really jumpable. What do we do?
Not with the size of this pit. No, not with the size of the tunnel either. I think maybe we need to go back and, unless we have a way over this, we should probably go back and try and make our way through that other tunnel that we went through.
We just need to.
Came through a mining area. Maybe we saw like loose beams and things.
Or ladders.
Probably not a ladder, but well, yeah.
Plank.
Just
Something, planks, wood, anything.
mines usually require lumber.
Yeah.
A really stiff corpse.
A really stiff, very, very tall corpse.
Also, it would need to be
Oh,
fresh
but-
because otherwise they get all juicy.
How big was that hole in diameter?
5 feet across, 5 meters across. Sorry.
5 meters?
across, 5 meters deep. Yep.
So 15
15
feet by 15 feet,
Yep.
give or take.
And I do want to mention very
Wow.
quickly two things. First of all, Mike, Ashflower, if you wish to try to recover spell points, because you used some before on the healing, you could do that during a short rest if you want. You could do it once per short rest, and it's different from a recover action, so it doesn't affect the number of recover actions you can do in a day.
Oh, go on then. Tell me how I do that.
Roll 1d6, that's it.
Roll 1d6.
And you recover that number of spell points. The second thing is that it is possible, while you're doing that, it is possible to try to avoid the trap now that you've triggered it by using agility, athletics to get over it, basically to jump it without a rope.
Wait, jump 5 meters over the hole in a tunnel?
It's a running jump. People could jump 15 feet with a running jump in a tunnel. It's not going to be super easy, but...
What, Olympians?
Adventurers, you're all heroes.
Is
How-
there like a
how tall
ledge
is
maybe
it?
around or something?
Given
No.
that I have the largest headdress of the party, how tall is this tunnel?
So this tunnel is
I need
a
the
little
most
bit
head
bigger than
height.
the other one. It's probably about... It's not very tall.
Is it going to accommodate a leaping lay walker?
7-8-ish feet, maybe. No, but it is possible that someone else could be on the other side and then could try to, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to solve the situation for you, but
Catch you!
yeah,
Catch
exactly.
me, yeah. Catch me.
I'll
I
do
mean,
that.
long
I
as you're
can't pull the
snapping
trick I
out, I'm
pulled
fine.
with Brawn again, by the way. That's expired now.
Yeah.
That only lasted
I
10 minutes,
think-
and we've just taken a
I think we should
15-minute rest.
definitely- yeah, no, I think we should definitely go see if we can find some lumber or something, or gather our thoughts, see if we can go find some lumber, and then see if we can cover the gap. And if we can't, then we can figure out what we're going to do next.
Can we... Wait, I mean, is this a one-time trap? How did you trigger it? Maybe we can just reset it and it closes again.
I point a very shaky finger at the brick on the ground.
Yeah.
I try to like unplug it so maybe it like goes back up and like everything closes.
So you do not have Tinker, right?
No.
Okay. Let me have you make a straight agility test for me,
So
please.
3 dice plus agility?
Well, Tinker is not... Yeah, yes.
Okay. 13.
So you're like... and you kind of shake it back and forth, and you hear this... like something is stuck, but nothing shifts back into place.
I think this should do it. It does noises. I pointed it in the hope that some of the bigger people maybe have an idea.
So is Tinker one of those things you can
Yeah.
you can do if you don't have it?
No.
It's not, no.
Uh,
But we can just kind of jiggle the switch a bit and see what happens.
Right, that was what the agility thing was, yeah.
Okay. Can I do that?
Sure, if you want. Absolutely.
What was the roll again?
It was agility, so you're that you're making. So basically just 3d6 plus agility.
$14. And a double 3.
Again, you just
See?
shake it, this thing back and forth, but doesn't come out.
see, it doesn't make noises.
You are correct. It does make noises. I'm not sure if it's making good noises, but it's making noises.
I think this is the way. We need to get it to close. I find out. Is there like how did the pit open? Is there like doors that like fell open like a?
No, it was
Trapdoor?
actually, well, a single door, which basically pivoted down. Yeah, exactly. Like that way. And when you're messing with the brick, that thing is the thing that's like bumping and bouncing against the edge of the pit, the wall that it fell against. So like that it's hit on a hinge,
It-
basically.
Doesn't get up again.
Nope.
Okay, I tried to pull it up.
I assumed that was one of the things you tried. Pulling, pushing, jiggling. I assumed you did that.
No, I was like the trigger. I was working on the trigger.
Oh, so you're trying to pull the door up. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Okay, this
You're a
is
very strong sprite,
this
but
is
I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say this is a brawn check.
It doesn't matter.
Brawn check.
Listen.
This is going to be a very difficult difficulty level. I'm letting you know
You
right now.
never know. Let's pull the door. Come
I
on.
believe in you.
15.
So you pull a little bit and it like slides a bit up and then it was a valiant effort, but exactly
be
deadlift
broken.
major exactly. No luck. It's heavy.
Could she try again with a light fate? Because I can transfer light fate to people.
I don't really think she can try again, but I guess other people could. Although you'd have to figure out a way to get down to it. I mean, she could
that
just
would
fly
require
down
us
to it.
getting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Oh, she's the only one who can reach it.
Yeah.
I wish I had tools, because then we could like try to get the trigger to pop up, but I don't have anything unless we can like jam a candle in there.
It's amusing to me that the bats were just zero issue, but this pit is the true boss. Like that's the real problem.
I am
remember last time we
absolutely
were-
useless in this situation. I have nothing that can help at all.
Well, Main's her name suggests you
Reginald.
fill the hole with kobolds, and that'll be fine.
That would work if we were on the right
Shall we
side of
lay
the
a-
hole.
Can we layer bats over the spikes and just use them as stepping stones?
There's only 10 of them.
It depends on how many bats there were. Oh, we've lost Reggie.
We lost Byron.
Oh no.
We'll get Byron back.
I think Reginald, should we try and go and get some wood or lumber or something to try and cover this hole?
Why is the least brawny character being tasked with brawny stuff?
Right?
You,
like
you
we're all
and
scholars.
me. Yeah, we're not a brawny bunch.
we're not brownie.
We're a brainy bunch. We're not a brawny bunch.
Exactly.
We are problem solvers. And Ashflower just looks back over to Muriel. Most problems.
Yeah. I sort of
Bury
make
dead
problems.
people for a living. I rarely have a problem more complicated than dig hole in ground.
And I dead people for a living. I don't know what your problem is.
I dead people for a living.
I read books. I have a book, but it's not helpful to us right now.
All right, I'm recapturing Windows since I don't know whether Pyron is going to be able to make it back or not.
She's just completely lost internet and can't reconnect right now.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will get those folks back.
I
So,
could light some incense. Would that help?
so you're going to try to
Proud
find
real
some
hard.
lumber, as I understand it, from the
Yeah.
previous thing.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. So when you head back over there, you find a lot of these tools. There are a lot of crude, makeshift tools of pickaxes and shovels and things like that, which can be combined theoretically, or you can try to put together if you want to lash them together. The question is, what are you lashing them together with? That's the
Not
issue.
my blanket.
String, apparently, because that's all we have.
I don't even have rope, which I can't remember is an oversight on my part, or thought I had some at some point. I can't remember how it's gone.
Some of the rope, remember, you were all using at the opening to this place when you went down to the
Yeah, we
mine.
kinda
because of the
left
car,
it.
So it might have had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to gather that and bring it back, but the putting it together, how do you want to try to put it together? And we're wrapping up here in a second.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, we've got tools and that's it. So there's no big long planks or any bits of lumber or anything like that.
The only thing you found that is like that are planks that you think are load bearing. So there are beams that are holding up a couple of the tunnels, but they're holding up the tunnels.
Well, but if we have digging implements, then we could just waste a whole lot of time trying to dig from the other tunnel.
At the moment, that's looking like our only possibility.
So I was right the first time. We should have gone left.
This is
You're
what
the
we
cult
get for
leader.
not listening to the prophet.
Yep.
I only prophesied halfway. I should have prophesied grab that shovel. And I just didn't.
Ashflower just leans into Muriel real quick. So did you mean to fall in that hole?
No. and the blood gushing out of my body is an example of why that was a terrible idea.
I'm not sure what's planned and what's prophesized at this point.
Oh, we all wish we knew.
What if falling in the pit was part of your prophecy? But they
wouldn't be
didn't
the
tell
first-
you.
I don't like those prophecies, though. Those ones hurt.
So, we try and make a makeshift bridge out of tools.
Or diggy
I'm
diggy
sorry.
hole.
Diggy hole.
So-
But the
Oh,
problem is diggy hole while we're like all crouched in this itty bitty
Exactly.
little tunnel. So only one person can diggy hole at a time.
I'll make Regina do it. She's the broady one.
Yes.
So as I understand it,
Regina could quickly fly through and dig one side, someone could dig the other. and
Oh,
then
hey,
fly through.
actually, yeah, that's a good point.
okay, so
Thanks.
as I understand it, you're having Regina dig one side of the end of the pit. You are digging the other side of the pit, and then trying to lay crude mining tools across.
No.
Oh,
No?
No,
No.
we're going to the
We're going back to the other tunnel.
Oh, you are
we're
going back to the other tunnel.
To the other
Oh,
tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crawly
Screw
tunnel.
this tunnel. This tunnel is old news.
So
We
you
do
go
not
back to-
care for this tunnel anymore.
I got you. So you go back to the other tunnel, and Regina begins to dig. And
Yep.
as Regina begins to dig, trying to do so quietly, Muriel, you can see through the hole in the distance, right out past the tunnel and in the room, you can see movement. And it looks like one of a small lizard-like creature is slowly making its way towards the tunnel in which you dig. And that is where we're going to bring our session to a close for today. Well, I had a lot of unexpected stuff I didn't expect to see. I did not know that that the vampire bats were going to be zero threat, that it was just going to be like, let me just wipe them all out at once. But I also didn't know that you were going to be stymied completely by a pit because of the complete lack of rope and such. So this threat giveth and it taketh away. It was interesting to see all of that, but it was very entertaining. And it was entertaining to see everyone as you made your way through. And it was a lot of fun watching you interact with the Toad King, which was always a good time as well. I will start as per usual on the bottom of the column. Chai, good stuff. I am sorry that you took that header, and I am also sorry that it hurt that much, but it could have been worse. You could have been utterly dead. And instead, you were just really, really badly impaled. That was all that happened there. And then you made it out, and now you just have to figure out how to get through a small tunnel without alerting every kobold in the place. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine people find you next?
Oh yeah, I just have to do that. Like, it's fine. It's just a normal Tuesday.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously, today was awesome and very pointy. But that's okay because I'm not dead, and that's really what matters. Is I don't have an injury, and everything is fine. And we rallied together with a bed sheet or whatever it was, blanket.
Right, with the blanket.
With the blanket, yes. So it was a what is that? Team building experience. That's what it was.
Exactly. Except the trust fall was unfortunate, but everything else was.
Team
No-
building
no one else was
experience with
prepared.
That's
Okay.
true. The spikes were. The spikes were prepared.
Spikes were prepared. As for when the fine people will see me next, obviously I will be here the next time we play Talisman, which is whenever. And I also stream. I've changed up my schedule, so I stream once a week now on my channel on Saturdays. So that way I can do one longer stream that is uninterrupted by children.
Okay.
So Saturday evening, lately we've been playing Black Book, which is a fun little indie game that GOG has. So hopefully we're going to be playing that again this Saturday, unless something else cooler comes out.
Good stuff. Thank you, Chai, as always. Continue good luck with everything as progress is being made on multiple construction fronts, so to speak. But thank you, Chai. Always a pleasure. Also, always a pleasure to have Mike with us. Mike, some good stuff that we got to see from Ashflower here in terms of healing, the blanket stuff, and also we got to find out a lot about the particular direction and orientation of Ashflower's horns. So that was all.
It's
We
a
got a
very
lot of
important
info that we
character
didn't
arc.
have before. How did
Yes.
you feel about today's session? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
I absolutely love today's session. I always love playing with this group. It's absolutely fantastic. I wish I could play with this group, especially Chai, more often, because it's always it's just super wholesome. I'm also really looking forward to playing Ghost of Saltmarsh for the next couple of weeks as well, which is going to be frigging brilliant. But yeah, it's always fun playing D&D, playing Talisman. It's a nice escape from anything that may be going on in the rest of the world. So it's really nice, and it really builds a wholesome sense of community. And yourself as Dungeon Master or Game Master in this case, you do a very, very good job of world building and just, like you say, using theatre of the mind in order to allow people to kind of escape from what they're currently doing so they can enjoy a piece of fantasy on stream.
I appreciate that.
But I'm not doing anything at the moment. I've just gotten off the back end of multiple projects, some of which I'm able to talk about, some of which I'm not able to talk about. If you want to find out more about these projects, you can check me out on social media at Peripheral Mike. I will be streaming. There's a pile of consoles just down here, which are going to be kind of added to as the weeks go by. I'm going to connect them up to my streaming rig, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to start streaming next. So keep your eyes on social media. But other than that, just be wonderful to each other.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mike, as always. As always, great stuff, Saber, out of you as well. I really enjoyed the fact that Reginald was getting like relatively frustrated, like, do this. He's like, I'm not strong. I said I'm not strong. Like, there is all this stuff about that. But then you had the one, like, you know, walk away while everything is exploding cool moment where you're just kind of like gust of wind. And literally, I couldn't believe it when you said 7. I'm like, all right, well, every bat is dead. Congratulations. Like all 10 bats, just that's the end of that. That was extremely impressive. The fact that we had the pit then that slowed everyone down, I found funny because, something was going to work to slow down this group. But anyway, it was good stuff on multiple levels here. And you began with, being dragged behind a mine cart, and you ended with having to figure out how to widen a tunnel or get over a pit. So it's been a eventful session for Reginald. How'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
It has been a lot of fun. I have been looking forward to today, particularly today at this time, because whenever I come back from Bloodstock, there's always that downer moment, like the festival bit blues, as they're called, because it's such a wonderful place, lots of community. But then I was like, I'm doing a Talisman with all my friends again. It's going to be wonderful, and I've got something to look forward to. So it's helped me get over that slump. So it's been really, really fun. Cool. And like you say, the bat one shot was hilarious because I could see like all the dots were lining up, and I was like, wait, how wide is this place? And it's like, bats, they probably don't have a lot of HP. I don't know how much. It'll give us a good, like I said, a good opening shot. That's what I was aiming for, not completely decimating.
I was just like, because they have no armor. So I'm just like, well, dead. I'm like,
it's probably the only time it'll happen, but I'm glad it did because that was awesome.
It was pretty fun.
And then we've got this pit. And again, like I'm just standing there going, I got nothing. Good luck with this, everyone. And then, like I say, everyone's going, oh, can you carry this stuff? And I'm like, I'm a druid.
You do dig for a living, though. I mean, like,
yeah, I'm
pits,
not that
digging.
brawny, though.
Yeah.
It's good soil. I don't have to dig that hard.
Good soil, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'll be back on my own channel this Thursday. I'm going to be looking at Cosmos Quick Stop and Humankind, which have released this week. 2 games I've very much been looking forward to. And I'll be back tomorrow here on the GOG channel playing Fallout 2, which is on sale this week. And it's an absolute classic. I think we can all agree. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't like it. Whatever. We're all different people.
Good stuff, Saber. As always, a pleasure. Thank you again for Dashboard and Moobot. And, of course, Pyron Jade would be telling you where she's from, but she was... you didn't see Pyron Jade. This was the avatar of Pyron Jade, who is currently on vacation. But when Pyron Jade herself returns on vacation, you will see her, of course, back on the channel, streaming on occasion, and you will, of course, see her coordinating the GOG stream team, which we are fortunate to have her as that coordinator. But she was playing Regina Augusta III, and I was really enjoying the notion of her feeling like really, really worried about Muriel, and then not really being able to help too much in certain ways, and then being like, I really wanted her to succeed so that she could just literally pull the lid of the pit back up through the might of the sprite, but it didn't quite work out that way. Anyway, but we will see how things progress with Pyron and with the rest of this crew in the next month. So I will see Chai back here next month, but for everybody else, I will see you folks back here next week along with Inanda for Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Chat, thanks, first of all, players. Wonderful work today. Great stuff. I'm looking forward to next month with this game and next week with Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing players and players? Pyron Jade, who's not here, but is here with us in Avatar Spirit. Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and of course Tasty Chai. Great work today, and we will see you folks all soon. Bye for now. All right. There's 93% love between Wolf Soul 87 and the players. I feel like that's small though. Wolf Soul. I feel like that's not I feel like it should be even higher than that. No, I'm just kidding. That was great. I really enjoy this system, and I really, as you could tell, I was perhaps a little bit too much into playing the Toad King because it was cracking me up. So I was having a fun time with it, and I'm glad that everyone in chat was hopefully enjoying it as well. Great stuff out of the players. I will be back on my own channel. If you like this stuff, remember I do a lot of D&D on my own channel as well. Tomorrow night, we have got some Dragon of Icespire Peak coming at you with Echo Alpha X5, with Triffity Mats, with Rock God, and with Hoodie as your players. That's No Quarter TV. And then we've got Shadowed Mage as your DM for Dragon of Icespire Peak. That's happening tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're off on Thursday, then on my channel on Friday. I am back with Rebel Crown, playing this time, not in D&D, but in Rebel Crown, which is a really cool game that you should come over and check out. And there's previous videos of that on my channel that's co-hosted with my podcast, Speculate. I do want to mention that for those of you who like playing this stuff, I have D&D with Viewers, which in this case is Legacy of Dragonholt. It's kind of a group role-playing experience that I'm doing on my channel on Saturday. And on Sunday, I've got a poetry reading that I'm hosting with Brandon O'Brien, a very well-known Caribbean poet from the Caribbean, and he is from Trinidad. He is going to be reading his work along with Valerie Valdez, who is another fairly well-known author who is reading work as well. And we have other people who are going to be there. That's 6 p.m. on my channel if you are interested in checking out some poetry and gaining some culture, all that kind of thing. And then I will be back on my own channel on Tuesday, next Tuesday, with the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Month. And most importantly, back here for you folks, back here, thank you, Major Makoto, for the follow on my channel. I'll be back here next week, 1 week from today, 4 p.m. Eastern, with the first of 2 sessions in August of D&D with GOG, Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So thank you to all of you for watching. Thanks to everyone else. And thank you, as always, to Pegasus Spiele for sponsoring this campaign. We appreciate that very much. You should definitely check out this game. And thank you, as always, to my players, Pyron Jade, Tasty Chai, Darksaber 2K, and Peripheral Mike. That's it for me. Next up, I think, is Wolfie tomorrow. So you'll see Wolfie tomorrow. But that's it for me and for GOG today. So until I speak to all of you lovely people next time, everyone, be good to each other and have a good one. Bye for now.